drama time. Asmon versus Elon over fake gamer allegations. Watching the Union doc later. Get in now. The pirate, dude, I think the Elon Musk Asmongold drama is infinitely more in line with the things that I normally cover than the pirate software allegations or the pirate software drama. I will admit, like, I haven't really paid attention to it. I talked about this yesterday or like the day prior. I just don't really know what's going on. But I also personally don't think it's like all that relevant. I think it's probably going to go away eventually, because it's just so entirely invested in World of Warcraft. Like the concept of roaching as a mage, like that, you have the goals of like defending your front line and then like running away from that responsibility is just such a, like, if you try to describe that again to a bus driver, like they would probably go, what are you talking about? But if you try to describe the the concept of like the wealthiest man on the planet hiring someone to play video games for him and then being outed as like playing fake video games, and because he's so petty that he just straight up is he's so petty that he just like straight up is actively going to war with a bunch of like sweaty ass gamers. Like that in and of itself, I think is like more in line with the things that I talk about. So see, you're totally a video game understander. Yeah, I think like, as far as I understand, like the pirate software stuff, like if he had just simply stood aside and was like, I fucked up, you know, and took ownership over it, like it never would have exploded to the degree that it did. Because it's, at the end of the day, it's a video game. You know what I mean? It's like, my father died because a mage left him. It's relatable. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't understand. Like, okay, yeah, he messed up. Like, why are people losing their minds over it? What the hell's going on? Like, people will die on the ego hill for the dumbest shit. Yeah, but the pile-ons and like the way that people reacted to it, it seems is also kind of crazy. You know what I mean? Literally just most pointless drama. He killed 2 other players permanently in a game for his actions. No, I know. You're not considering how funny it is. No, it's really funny though. He got 2 other high levels perma-killed. No, I know. I understand that. I understand it. I think the way that people are reacting to it is still funny though, because it's like, yeah, it's a lot of man hours, right, that you put into this game, but at the end of the day, it's literally a video game, and it's also not a video game that I'm super familiar with, so I can't even give you like my expert analysis on like what a mage is supposed to do. Was he actually truly out of mana? Did he have like a way to, did he actually have a way to in the fastest way possible get back mana and then try to save those 2 high level players? Like all of this stuff to me is so, I don't know. Watch Soda's YouTube vid on it. Like people took this opportunity to shit on Thor for everything now. Like people have been holding it on for a long time. Yeah, people died and you're making jokes. This is so stupid. He didn't get anyone killed. They pulled and made mistakes. They said to run, so he ran. That is stupid. It's the story. I think it's the best. I think even if you're not immediately responsible for it, from what I understand, in terms of like how these sorts of dynamics play out, okay? Even if you're not immediately and directly responsible for the death of 2 other players, it's better to always take ownership over it. It's almost always better to say, I'm really sorry. I'm truly sorry. I should have done better. It is entirely in my hands. Even if it's not entirely in your hands, I think that's probably the best thing to do. It's probably the best possible way to get around it, right? Because if you don't do that, people are just going to, you know, get more mad at you. And then they're going to do the thing that people do to me all the time, which is, you know, comb through every little aspect of your stream in an effort to continue the drama train as hard as possible, where, you know, they'll just like keep piling on over and over again and turn you into a lolcow. Especially WoW players, I think, and WoW enjoyers in general are some of the sweatiest guys out there. So they have a proclivity towards that sort of behavior anyway. So I think the best possible thing he should have done, like, is the best possible thing he should have done in this regard was just to be like, I'm so sorry, I really messed up, and I will do everything in my power to you know, offer restitution to the people that died, right? Because I saw Soda, you know, I saw Soda Agay's take on it. Like, I saw a piece of it where he was eating a slice of pizza, and he basically said exactly what I was thinking as well, which is that, like, and I don't know anything about World of Warcraft, right? Where Soda Agay basically said, I'm worse than Tyler 1. Tyler 1 owns me. I'm Tyler 1's bitch. And then in between saying stuff like that, because it's true, I mean, those are factually accurate statements. In between saying factually accurate statements such as that one, he basically said like, yeah, he roached, okay, a term for those of you who don't know, and I didn't know this either, when you run away instead of doing the right thing in a raid, that he did the wrong thing, and his reaction wasn't great, but then people went nutty mode over it, which then ultimately led to Pirate Software getting banned, kicked out of the guild, and that's it. All bets are off as soon as you choose to play hardcore mode in WoW. It's just stupid because the game isn't designed to be played in that way in the first place. I used to respect you until you started discussing WoW. I think this is the maximum amount of WoW discussion I'm going to give you, especially because it's like pretty funny to look at like how much involvement there is. This video has 453,000 views. This has been like keeping people up at night. Okay, this is keeping people up at night. People are so upset. People are losing their minds. Every large content creator is given a take on it. And for me, it's like looking at this from the outside, especially as so many significant things around the world are happening right now in real time. I just can't help but laugh at what keeps people's attention in this day and age. You know, it's amazing. This is why people laugh at us. Wait, what? Laugh at us? It's so funny to think that these guys who have been staying up at night every single day, day in, day out, because of like hardcore WoW raids, would turn around and be like, you guys care about Israel, you freaking losers. But yeah, bro, we got nothing else. Everything is falling apart. I kind of get it, because I think of how annoying it is when randos online are like, you need to hold yourself accountable. I get why he was not dealing with this. Yeah, no, I know, but there's a difference. Like, if you've truly done something that people that are in your orbit also believe you've done wrong, right? I think the best possible thing to do in that situation is not to double down and to be like, I'm wrong here. It's the worst thing to do. I know that. You know what I mean? It's the worst. It's the worst thing to do, especially when like people use this as an avenue to attack you for irrelevant things. Like, people will develop resentment towards you, especially if you're a popular content creator. If you're like a somewhat well-known content creator, people will just like develop resentment towards you regardless, because they just see your face too much. That's just how the internet is. It's very weird, right? And in that process, a lot of people will just pile on. A lot of people will just like pile on and use this as an opportunity to reinforce their resentment, right? Hassan, are you serious? You never do that? Lol, you're always doubling down. Yeah, famously, the one thing that everybody bullies me over is when I predicted falsely that Russia would never invade Ukraine. And famously, I also did not apologize for that and kept doubling down, if you recall. Oh wait, that's not the case. I literally did do that, and people still yell at me over it regardless. But it doesn't matter. Anyway, my point is like, you should do the right thing. And you know, do it for your own sake, not for the sake of like getting people out of your hair, but do it for the sake of like, you know, it is as if they blame Palestinians for Hamas. It's dumb to take the blame just so Israel doesn't hate you. Please tell me you're not comparing WoW drama to Israel Palestine. I'm going to shut off the stream for the rest of the day. I think 42 minutes into the broadcast, I'm done. I'm done. This is going to be one of the shortest. This is going to be one of the shortest returns. Okay. Someone unironically compared like a person playing WoW to a genocide that's going on. That's insane. Anyway, we're going to be talking about Elon Musk crashing out because he's a child as well, obviously, because that's really funny. Now you have to play WoW. I will not be doing that. Tyler One has your exact take on Pirate. That's my goat.
For not saying sorry, but are we serious with some of the shit I've
That's
been
my
saying?
goat. That's my goat.
Saying?
If Tyler One said it, then I 100% agree with it. And seconded, I don't know anything. Only Tyler One knows things. If Tyler One came out and started doing political commentary, I would have to literally quit. So please, Tyler One, stay in the lanes that you have actually occupied, whether it be chess with your incredibly high elo out of nowhere, or with the fact that you have actually completely dominated the field of WoW. Tyler One, I pray to your altar every night. Okay, please stay in the lanes that you have occupied. Please never get into political commentary. I do not want to lose my job. Okay, I don't want to lose my job. He's literally done everything. Okay, he's just slowly but surely going through every single meta and just becoming the top guy in every single meta just for fun. Okay, for no other reason but because he can do it. And I don't like that. If he were, I do like that. As long as he just doesn't get into political commentary. Tyler One, please don't do that. Okay, Tyler One is way too cool to care about politics ever. I agree. He's 6'5". He outlifts me. He is my goat. I have said this before. Still haven't beaten height. No, he's 6'5". He's 6'5". I'm 6'4". He's 6'5".
Guy's an idiot for not saying sorry. But are we serious with some of the shit I've been saying? Are we serious? He threatened to report Twitch streamers? Bro, okay, but low key. Again, I dare not say my take. But bro, what are we doing? You guys say he's feeding it. He's a streamer. Have you seen his chat? Bro, his chat's been like it's a meme, yes, but it's been a bit disgusting. I'm just like,
he's the goat at reforming in his toxic ways as well. What can't this man do? What can't this man do? He is father to child. He is the goat at being a father. Okay. Hasana's turbo short. Goddamn 6'4". Sheesh. Learn to grow, big dog. I know. I'm a grower, not a shower.
Obviously, he's gonna lash out. People not know what egos are. What are we doing? Like, dude, apparently he's getting swatted. He's getting spam death threats in game, out of game. People are bringing up his past. Apparently, he was a Fury. They found his like alt identity. Like, what do we do? Like, what do we, guys? Is this not too much?
I mean, he's right.
Like, when is enough?
He's right. People are so mentally ill online. Also, he said Fury instead of furry. He was a Fury. I didn't know that, but that kind of makes sense. But listen. Wait, did he mean furry or did he mean like fury? Like an actual, is fury a thing? I don't understand that. But a fury warrior. One thing that I will say is that it is kind of sad that the moment that you put a lot of Twitch streamers in one space where they are supposed to collaborate with one another, egos always get in the way. Parasocial relationships always develop. Fan base always is like, okay, well, it's time to dox and kill this person. Can we please dox this person and SWAT them so the SWAT team that, you know, knocks on their door ends up assassinating them? And it's like, how do we get there every time? Like Grand Theft Auto No Pixel Roleplay or WoW raids or whatever. It's not even like specific to WoW. Almost always, like, every single collaborative effort in this field turns into this madness. The pile-on tracks about how much more internet has crossed into reality over the past couple of decades, while immaterial issues have more frequently had material consequences, with leaner opportunities IRL creating greater attachment to immaterial stuff like loot boxes, gacha, boost your special customized little guy. I agree. Like, it is, I cannot be here today because I will disagree. What is this? Pirates beyond ego. Okay, but when everyone is right about Pyre, remember this moment. There's more to this. Okay, listen. I love M Hud and I respect him. There's way more to this than some WoW shit. People should pay attention. Pyre's an actual narcissist and cannot admit he's wrong ever. There's a real reason why he has so many people waiting for this to happen. I cannot be here because I will disagree. M Hud is also a WoW freak, so he probably knows a lot more than I do. But my point is, I don't really know Pirate that well. I don't know anything about him, but it tracks from my own personal experience of being a Twitch streamer myself and the way that people think about me. I'm sure that they have the same exact resentment towards me that they do about him. And I think some of it is valid for myself and for him as well. And I still have the controversial opinion that no one deserves to have people pile on this much to the degree where it like enters the real world space. You know what I mean? Hassan, respectfully, I don't care about some BS glorified internet college drama. What the hell did Pirate even do? All I'm saying is like keeping it to just being like, yeah, I'm not too fond of this guy because of the way he carries himself, is valid, or I'm not too fond of this guy and I think he made the wrong decision in this raid is one thing. But I do think that like a lot of stuff online, and it's not even just because of him. It's not even just against like pirate software, but just like virtually every person online that becomes the #1 villain of the day. Ultimately, the way to deal with that situation in the eyes of many is basically to take matters into their own hands and to dox that person and try to get them killed, which I think is so crazy. Is almost always to just like get to a degree where it almost always gets to a degree where people are just like, it's time to, you know, harass this person in the real world. But regardless, I think also he's getting it from all angles. People are mad that he collaborated with Asmongold or something. So there's like, he's getting it from every angle. On the one hand, people are yelling at him in his own community because he has like a relatively progressive community where I think like they're mad because he collabed with Asmongold or something. I don't know. And also on the other hand, he's getting obviously like every WoW guy, everyone that kind of hated him from the jump, but never really said anything, I guess. Like it was dormant. The hatred that people have for him was dormant, but they've seen this as an opportunity to be like, this guy sucks. So it's hard for me not to see it to a certain degree, his position, even though I do understand that like his dealing with the matter, the way he dealt with the matter wasn't the best, which is I think why a lot of people just like doubled, as he doubled and quadrupled down. A lot of people basically fucking were like, oh, I hate him. Asmon defended him. He didn't collab with Asmon. Asmon was shitting on a game he loves due to misinfo, so he went on Asmon's stream and corrected said misinfo. They're more mad that when people said to him, hey, Asmon sucks, why'd you have a convo with him like this? He told them it's apolitical, stop crying. I mean, people yell at me when I talk to Asmongold and I debate him, so I get it. Again, but you know. What did Nick say? What did my other goat Nick say?
You know what? I always thought if I actually got into some sort of drama, like some real drama, because I never really get in any, that I would just like double down and then triple down. But now I see what that gets you. I'm going to apologize instantly, even if I don't even believe it.
He said the same thing. Yeah,
I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have done that.
I mean, apologizing also doesn't get you anywhere, though, because if people hate you, they'll still like hit you. You know what I mean? If people hate you, they don't care. It's a weird predicament. It's just like doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The best thing you can do is never be in the crosshairs of like the monitors. You know what I mean? Should someone apologize when you don't think you deserve the hate, like the Gucci shirt or house with you? Yeah, see, that's what I mean. Like, even if I was like, hey guys, I'm so sorry that I purchased a house for myself and my family. Like, do you think that would have stopped people? No. So it doesn't matter because it wasn't about like purchasing a house or purchasing an expensive Gucci shirt. You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing, even if you're just being like, I'm so sorry for buying a house. Like, it doesn't matter because, well, first of all, I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. Whereas like, it seems like a lot of people that are infinitely more knowledgeable of the situation in terms of like WoW and how to deal with raids also were in line. Like they also were saying like, yeah, he did the wrong thing, right? Whereas it would be very funny if people were just like, hey, purchasing of a house is inherently immoral. Your house didn't permakill 2 other players though. I like that this person literally is more invested in this than anything else. Why is messing up in a video game considered drama now? It's not even necessarily messing up in a video game. I think the reaction or the double down, triple down, quadruple down in the process is what like created this perfect shitstorm. You know what I mean?
I'm so sorry. I'm gonna apologize. You know, I'm not even gonna I'm gonna pre-apologize. I'm gonna make a video just like today, guys. I'm sorry for what I did, and like this. Just launch it
Start on the
instantaneously,
GTR
bro.
rap
Just get it
before
out there,
merge,
man.
#scam.
It's gonna be so fast, man. It's gonna be like, oh Jesus Christ.
Yeah. If you draw the ire of some of the sweatiest, like most extremely online people, you're kind of cooked no matter what. Like they'll find something inevitably, especially given the format of Twitch streaming. They'll inevitably find something to yell at you over. You know, they will inevitably find something to yell at you over. It doesn't matter, especially if you have a long sequence of being online and like you've piled up a lot of both goodwill from people and also negative attention from people who just see you a lot and just hate you, you know, because they've seen you a lot. It's a unique predicament because on the one hand, there's like validity for people to exhibit resentment given, you know, what the reaction looks like. Pirate mentioned you. He was subbed that he subbed, but you don't run ads. He was frustrated with that. Yeah, okay, dude. Good one, though. At the top of the hour, I used to run ads, but I no longer do that. But you can still subscribe in order to support the show, the stream. For $6 or for free, you will have the opportunity to be able to send me links that there's no guarantee that I will click on, but you have the opportunity to be able to do so by subscribing. You can also use the wonderful emotes all around the platform-wide. That's right. Twitch Primes are still free, however. Here is the lack of ad break now. There is no ad break, though. Don't worry. Hero of Zoe, thank you for the 5 gifted. And Robnito, thank you for the 5 gifted. There's some ceasefire updates we're going to get to in a second, but we're not going to do that yet. Before we get to the ceasefire updates, that's the one drama that we covered. The other drama that I must cover before we get into the ceasefire updates. Imagine hating some random ass person online, lol, lol, lol. Anyway, what? Are you going to talk about someone who is loved? LeBron bringing that girl to tears with his presence alone? He doesn't talk about politics on stream, and if people try, he tells them to go watch you. Yeah, I think Pirate has like decent politics. He doesn't strike me as someone who has like bad politics at all. And I think it's like it's purely vibes based. Like but I don't know enough. You know what I mean? But I would suspect that a lot of it is like vibes based. I see too much of the way that. Like, I think it's probably the confident ways in which he carries himself when he's doing commentary in short formats that sometimes you land on a thing that you know better than he does. And then that like causes you to hate him kind of, you know what I mean? Does that make sense? He's kind of a lib. He just has a progressive-ish vibe. Anyway, where were we? Oh, okay. By the way, shouts out to this chatter who made wonderful Kaya stickers. Birdie, KB25 Birdie. Is that the right one? This is incredible. These are amazing. Amazing. He did admit he did something wrong. He just didn't apologize for getting brigaded by the WoW community. Anyway, oh, it was KB Birdie. Yeah, I liked it when she first posted it. Incredible work. Talk about David Lynch, RIP. We will. I will get to that in a second. Before I do that, we have to talk about Asmongold. Okay, we have to talk about Asmongold. As you guys know, ladies and gentlemen, boys, girls, and NBs. Okay, yes, we do. This is a good one. I promise. It's a real let them fight style situation. Okay. It's a real let them fight situation. That's the reason why it's a fantastic story. I love it. Okay. I'm going to explain something to you. Okay?
Elon Musk is a...
Okay. Oh my God. Penguinzo came out with an 11-minute video, which has 500,000 views in an hour. Oh, guys, I'm sorry. You will never stop me. You will never stop me from covering this story because it's everything. It's everything to me, okay? It's everything to me. It's got the wealthiest person, the most powerful person on the planet right now, behaving like a thin-skinned man baby over the dumbest thing possible, and all of the sweatiest gamers that are normally supposed to be Elon Musk fanboys and loyalists losing their minds, finally waking up to the reality that maybe Elon Musk is a fraudulent charlatan. I'm sorry. This story is everything to me. Okay? A real let them fight situation. On the one hand, Asmongold, okay? A person who never leaves his home until it's to get a Whataburger, okay, is also somewhat of an Elon Musk fanboy, if you will, okay? Being pressured by other gamers in the community to finally come out and make a understandable, pointed criticism towards Elon Musk for cheating in Path of Exile 2. Very clearly cheating in Path of Exile 2. You got Quinn and Crip, 2 content creators who are now officially my goats for what they have done, okay? I will openly cast aside all of the resentment and previous things that Quinn has said about me, okay? And I will openly state that, Quinn, you're good in my book. You're my goat, okay? You are good in my book. The investigative reporting that these people did in terms of identifying and exposing Elon Musk for so clearly boosting an account by hiring potentially a pro in somewhere in an Asian server, okay? It was fantastic. The story begins with Elon Musk. Okay? The story begins with Elon Musk. Elon Musk is the wealthiest person on the planet. He owns numerous companies. Many of them are backed by government subsidies, despite the fact that he routinely will cry about government subsidies, or not government subsidies necessarily, but taxes, because he is a selfish little billionaire. Elon Musk is one of the most thin-skinned, narcissistic people on the planet. He desperately wants the attention and admiration of gamers, okay? Why would you want that? Who knows, okay? I don't understand it, but he wants it desperately. Now, in an effort to garner this kind of attention, he has oftentimes called himself the meme king, with the worst, most deep-fried 9-gag memes you've ever seen, the most 56-year-old man memes you've ever seen online. But aside from that, he has also regularly, with regular frequency, tried to showcase himself as a legendary gamer. Try to showcase himself as a legendary gamer to garner this kind of admiration from the sweatiest gamers. Okay? And in that process, he's actually gotten a decent amount of motion. People thought that he was very good at gaming when he played Diablo. Luckily for him, not a lot of people play Diablo, I guess, in comparison to Path of Exile, or in comparison to how much people are invested in Path of Exile. When he played Diablo 4, or in air quotes, played Diablo 4, Elon Musk most likely boosted his account. Okay? I enjoyed Diablo 4, by the way. People are saying Diablo 4 bad. I don't care. I enjoyed it, but that's probably further evidence that it wasn't very good. Now, having said that, he presented himself as one of the best Diablo 4 players on the planet. Okay? Except when he actually streamed it, he wasn't that good. But people didn't really care necessarily. People didn't know enough about it. However, Elon Musk, with his endless hubris, actually did something even worse than that. Elon Musk played Path of Exile 2 when it came out. Okay? For those of you who don't know, Path of Exile 2 is also another top-down, like, strategic RPG style game, but also like an MMORPG. Kind of. What would Diablo 2 and like Path of Exile be considered? Isometric ARPG, right? ARPG is the genre. Okay. It's very sweaty. It's an action RPG that is top down. It's very, very, very sweaty. It's very difficult. If you look at that skill tree on it, you're like, it immediately makes your heart explode. For me, it gave me an aneurysm. I looked at the skill tree one time and I was like, there's no way I can actually touch this. Isometric loot ARPG. Isometric loot action RPG. It's actually crazy. It's not a skill tree. It's a skill forest. It's a skill universe, right? It's a skill galaxy. Anyway, having said that, it's a very sweaty game. It's a very sweaty game. And a lot of people play it. And the game has been out for not that long, right? But in the process, Elon Musk, in his endless hubris, decided to boost his account to such a high rank that it was physically impossible for him to genuinely get to that degree of success as the number 7th highest ranking player in the world. I suspect, given the numerous tools that Path of Exile actually offers in terms of tracking individual players, Okay. This meant that they could figure out exactly when he was logging on, where he was logging on from, the account at least, and what kind of trades this account was making, right? And Crip and Quinn actually dove deep and figured out, as far as I understand, that this was completely boosted. And I suspect, with the limited amount of information or with the limited amount of knowledge that I have over the situation, I suspect that not only did Elon Musk hire someone to do this, I think he hired multiple people to do this, multiple very highly skilled players, because the level, like to get to number 7 on the planet, you don't just need constant grinders, you need 24/7 grinding. And also on top of that, you need to most likely do real money trades, which is also another big no-no, another instance of cheating, in order to be able to get the best possible items. Because as far as I understand, Path of Exile 2, especially in hardcore, there's a lot of trading happening because there's RNG involved in the game. You can't it's not a guarantee that you're going to have the best possible items drop every single time you do these raids or whatever, right? So he most likely did every wrong thing you can possibly do in this game that a lot of people take super seriously. And in that process, people understandably started making fun of him. And many of these people who previously were predisposed with Elon Musk being a gamer or being a meme lord or being awesome, finally had the wool pulled over from their eyes and recognized that perhaps Elon Musk is not the legend he claims to be. Okay? Initially, it started, like I said, with Quinn and Crip's investigative reporting. And shout out to both of them. We watched their analysis on the broadcast. Now, how does Asmongold get into this equation? Well, let me tell you. Asmongold is an Elon defender. Asmongold also is followed by Elon Musk. Elon Musk has apparently talked about watching Asmongold videos and whatnot in the past. So for that reason, a lot of people were kind of confused as to why Asmongold, who spends 8.5 hours anytime there is like a non-fuckable main character in a video game that's not even out yet, people were shocked that no, he wasn't watching Quinn's video. As a matter of fact, Quinn's 11-minute video or his 28-minute video investigating Elon Musk's misdeeds in Path of Exile 2 was perfectly in line with the type of content that Asmongold normally reacts to. So people were wondering why Asmongold was not reacting to Quinn's video. Why, oh why, was he not actually taking out the dagger and stabbing Elon with it, not literally, but figuratively, right? Quinn thinks you hate him. No, I actually don't hate Quinn at all. I have made fun of him quite a bit. And I don't think our worldviews align in any way, shape, or form. But, I always give respect where respect is due. Okay? I think he is a fascinating individual, though. So, he's a funny, strange Kiwi. Yeah. In any case, I digress. Let's get back to the situation at hand. So, people were shocked that Asmongold was not reacting to Quinn's video. And people started speculating as to why Asmongold wasn't reacting to Quinn's video or talking about the latest and greatest, the largest, most significant news story of all, that Elon Musk was a fraudulent charlatan who was actually lying to boost his gamer credibility. All right? So people started speculating that Asmongold was doing that deliberately, was refusing to shit on Elon Musk because Elon Musk was maybe an Asmongold fan and that Asmongold was an Elon Musk fanboy in return. So then all of that pressure inevitably amounted to Asmongold actually taking a stance. In a famous tweet, he turned around and said, if Elon Musk can prove that he actually played Path of Exile himself, I will start live streaming on X. This caused a lot of chaos and controversy. He also started making, he took out a couple subtle jabs, maybe not so subtle jabs, at Elon Musk. And all hell broke loose. Ladies and gentlemen, all hell broke loose in the aftermath of that. Because Elon Musk, being the petty tyrant, the thin-skinned man-child that he is, decided to soft block Asmongold which is the process where you try to subtly, well, you can't do anything subtly as if you're Elon Musk on the platform. And under normal circumstances, it's something that you do subtly where you just block and then unblock someone so they don't follow you any longer. Elon Musk also took away, as far as I understand, Asmongold's verified account.
I would assume that since I am not following him either right now, I would assume that he soft blocked me, which means that he probably blocked me and then unblocked me, which made it to where I don't follow him, and he also doesn't follow me. Now, I will have to tell you that the last time that happened to me was with an angry ex-girlfriend. Why do you unfollow?
Oh my God. Oh, it's so good. Now, not only that, but also Elon, in the funniest way possible, okay, took matters further. But before I continue, I want Charlie, Moist Critical, Penguin Zero to explain the story, to summarize it for all of you while I go piss.
A worm I like to shoot spitballs and throw tomatoes at from time to time, because he is a jaw-droppingly embarrassing specimen of pure cringe that it is impossible to fight the urge to clown on him. Yet, whenever I do, and whenever anyone mentions Elon in a less than flattering way, you will have the most unlovable Cro-Magnon swarm you, dogpiling like it's World War Z zombies, to try and defend Elon from whatever the slight criticism or jokes were about him. These gonad gobblers will always blow my mind because I don't understand this brain-off worship of Elon Musk. Everything they hype him up to be, he is the opposite. He is not cool. He generates AI images of himself where he's not like this meatball-shaped man. He is not for free speech like they like to hype him up as. He's not a champion of free speech by any means. In fact, I personally think he is someone that is firmly against it in almost every single instance. Like, he personally banned the word cis. He actively bans things that hurt his feelings, and today I think is a great example of that, and hopefully will be a mask-off moment for a lot of people, and open their eyes to the fact that this is not a guy who's for free speech and is not for you. Like, I'm not going to get into it, but do we even need to talk about the H-1B take? Like, come on. He's not looking to hire you. He doesn't want to know you. He doesn't want to employ you. He wants the cheapest labor, and he wants everyone to be constantly fondling his sack and being really, really nice to him because he's our special boy. It's so embarrassing. So, what I want to talk about today is what I think should be a very clear example of how Elon uses his power and where he actually stands on free speech. He is having a textbook.
I love this, dude. It's so funny. All these guys, under any other circumstance, every single person that is involved in the story, every single person that's doing commentary on the story is, in my opinion, so like they're supposed to all be Elon Musk fanboys. If Elon was actually successful in his like endless amount of marketing, all of these guys should be like, oh yeah, he's big into free speech. He's like a big free speech guy. I actually really love him. But now, one by one, every single one of the people in his target audience are recognizing how much of a fraudulent little charlatan he is. Now, Charlie, I don't think has ever been like a super big Elon fanboy, but I think Charlie is still in that target market, right? Like, he's the target demographic. I don't think Charlie was ever like a massive Elon fanboy. Make no mistake. But he is directly the target demographic. Understand what I'm saying? Elon Musk wants someone like Charlie to love him, to admire him. Okay? Maybe even more so than the likes of Quinn. Do you not understand what I'm saying? And the fact that like Charlie already wasn't like a big fan of Elon Musk, and his audience is not a big fan of Elon Musk because of his attitude, because of his opinion. And now the fact that he's like losing the Quinn and the gamers, you know, the Quinns of the world, the Crips of the world, the Asmongolds of the world, like, that is glorious to me because he desperately wants it. He wants these guys to love him, to admire him. One thing you missed, Asmon finally relented the pressure and watched the Quinn video 3 days ago. This was the trigger. Yes.
Why?
Yes, this is what caused Elon Musk to lose his mind, because he finally watched the video, the Quinn 69 video, and his editor wrote, Elon Musk is not getting away with this. Crip is definitely not an Elon fan. Yes, sorry. Crip is definitely not. I'm not putting Crip and Quinn in the same category here. I'm just simply stating that, like, across the board, these are the guys that Elon wants the attention from. These are the guys that Elon desperately wants admiration from, right? I'm not saying that their politics are the same, just like Charlie's politics are not the same. But, like, broadly speaking, these guys all are in this gamer space, and Elon desperately wants their admiration. Does that make sense? But basically, I think the funniest part about this, and when I covered this first, and I think it's on my YouTube if you want to go watch it, but when I covered the story first a couple days ago, I correctly said, like, yeah, Crip probably was never an Elon fan. However, like, Quinn is exactly the type of dude who's supposed to be an Elon fan, right? And and this was the straw that broke the camel's back for him, right? Elon Musk exposes a fake gamer. Oh, here it is. Yeah. This was the straw that broke the camel's back for the likes of Quinn. And now Asmon is in the fray as well. Okay. Asmon is also in the fray. So due to an outsized, a steady amount of pressure, he finally watches Quinn's video, right? And he gives his commentary on it. And Elon Musk loses his mind. Last night, everything, all of the puzzle pieces fell right. All the puzzle pieces basically fell in order. Okay.
I don't even understand.
We set the stage for this delicious, fantastic delicacy of drama. Oh, delectable. Oh, fantastic. Kino, cinema. Okay. So this is the moment where Elon Musk unfollows Asmongold after Asmongold's videos come out, and Elon Musk sees it and he gets very mad.
Stand it. Elon unfollowed Asmon. Was he not happy about the probably not happy about the PoE video?
Yeah, not even gaming. Elon Musk is not getting away with this.
There's no way he played that account.
He's just running past Kazov.
No loot filter.
He's not pressing his mana flask.
He's individually dragging the maps into the inventory.
Level 48.
It's not really about one of these things happening. It's about everything happening. There has to be hundreds of hours to being level 97. If Elon Musk can prove that he played this account to 97, I will stream on X starting the day that he proves it for an entire year straight, every single stream that I do. It was so obvious. You cannot get mad at me for bringing this up. If somebody does something that I like, I'm going to say, I like the fact that you did that. But if they do something that I don't like, I have to say that it's bad. Because if you don't do that, that's not really telling the truth, is it? What is this? He responded about it? I love my Chinese alter ego. Okay, here we go.
So one of the questions was, am I going to comment on the Chinese driver of my Path of Exile account? Yes. His name is Elon Musk. And he's amazing. I rely on him for everything.
God, he's such a lame ass dude. Oh, yeah, Elon Musk. Yeah, he's the one who's running the account. Yeah.
Well, there it is. The mystery has been solved. There we go. The ghost scammer.
Ian Miles Chong. Damn, you going hard. So many deaths along the way. It's so, like, these guys are such pathetic fucking cringe lords, man. So bad. Like, the dick riders. Here's the thing, okay? Here's the thing. The dick riders know full well that the only thing Elon wants is unlimited rides on the penis, okay? That's it. He will always go back to the offering. He will always turn around and defend and hype up his greatest riders of the penis, the cock carousel dick riders. And of course, Ian Miles Wrong is one of the greatest examples of this. Tim Pool's another one. There's a bunch of these guys out there. Many of them are just like right-wing weirdos, right? Oh, Quinn called Ian Miles Wrong out? Oh, hell yeah.
This guy is like one of those dudes like in leather tied up, you know, like he's like a gimp, right? He's like he's a personification of like a gimp on Twitter, and all he does is eat Elon's ass. And Elon replies to him and agrees with him all the time. Yes! And it's like, bro, this is not a human being.
Okay, I need to tell you guys something very funny. I've had real journalists, not tech journalists, like tech journalists are real journalists too, but like straight up political journalists reach out to me because they're like, hey, do you know this Quinn guy? I'm not even kidding. I've had people reach out to me so I can put them in contact with Quinn. Now, Quinn wants to. He followed me recently, and I followed him back just now. I DM'd him. I was like, if you want, I can put you in contact with some of these people if you want to go and talk about this in mainstream news. But it is so funny to me that this investigative reporting from Quinn is causing so many fissures. Ryan Grimm reached out directly to me. It was like, hey man, so are you friends with this Quinn guy? He's in your space. I would love to have him on the broadcast. Like, can you imagine? It's incredible, dude. It is incredible. It's so funny. It is so funny. Holy moly.
This is not a human being. This is like an ass-eating gimp suit wearing fucking bozo clown. He will literally say anything if whatever he thinks Elon will like is what he will type. That is it. It's not even a person. He is a machine learning algorithm of how to like eat Elon Musk's ass the best. And you agree with this guy and reply like, really?
He's right. And he should say it. So glad that other people are starting to recognize inevitably in a long enough timeline, there was going to be something, okay? Something that causes people to see the truth, okay? Inevitably, there was going to be something that causes people to recognize that Elon Musk is a charlatan, a con man, thin-skinned, narcissistic man-child. And one by one, remaining possible Elon Musk fanboys are falling. And I love that it was Path of Exile 2 that caused this collapse to take place.
Crash out over gaming. Earlier this week, Quinn made a beautiful video that's breaking down the fact that Elon Musk is not the one who piloted his Path of Exile 2 account to the top of the leaderboard. It's not a conspiracy, it's not grasping at straws. When you finish that video, and I highly recommend you watch the whole video, it will be very clear, beyond a shadow of a doubt, Elon Musk was not the one who actually got the account to where it was. He instead gets permission from the boosters to play on it and flex it for his Twitter streams. He didn't know the very basic fundamentals of the game. However, I will say that his catastrophe of a stream while trying to show how great he is at gaming was enough to make me get back into grinding Path of Exile 2, because I've been slow rolling it for a while. I was still on cruel difficulty, but then watch.
Yeah. Everyone keeps saying that every time Elon touches a topic they're knowledgeable about was the moment they realize how utterly stupid he is. Yeah. And it causes people to go, wait a minute, if he's lying in this way, because like, look, not everyone is going to be a super genius on every issue. For example, okay, I have my intellectual weaknesses and everybody knows it, right? Like when it comes to foreign policy, I think that's like my bread and butter. When it comes to like domestic issues in terms of labor-related domestic issues, in terms of healthcare-related domestic issues, in terms of like, rehabilitation, women's rights is probably not my forte, right? I have weaknesses there. It's like I have ball knowledge and I have enough knowledge over certain issues, but it's clear that like it's not my forte. I would say macroecon is another one of those things, right? It's not my forte. It's not like something that I am the most knowledgeable on. I can dish out commentary in real time out of nowhere in a way that where I can pull crazy amounts of detail for many of the things that I talk about. But there are certain areas where like it's not, certain areas where it's like apparent that it's not my strongest area, right? Now, the difference is, okay, when it's an area that I'm like unfamiliar with, I try not to present myself as like the foremost authority on the issue. And I will voluntarily reveal that this is not my strong suit. Having said that, right? Having said that, that's still within the realm of like what I do, right? That's still in the realm of what I do. Elon Musk, on the other hand, is very obviously trying to enter areas that he has either no knowledge on or very little knowledge on, but also simultaneously presenting himself as like someone who is top 7 on the planet, right? Like Path of Exile. Like you have no business trying to present yourself in this way. if you literally tried to present yourself as like in the top 100 of Path of Exile, people wouldn't even pay that much attention. If you presented yourself as like top 1,000 at Path of Exile 2, people probably wouldn't be this invested. But he demonstrates so much hubris as a multi-billionaire where he has to literally be in the top 10, which immediately makes people go, okay, that's impossible. That's impossible. The amount of man hours that you put in, the amount of investment that you put into this game is impossible for you to do, is impossible for you to get to this point. Like, it's just physically impossible. You know what I mean? And that, I think, is the reason why a lot of people will encounter Elon in this area that they're like at least somewhat knowledgeable on and go, oh my God, he is not only like it's not that he's cheating, okay? It's that he's cheating in such a stupid and visible way. And it also demonstrates his insecurity and the fact that he's like basically doubling down and tripling down and attacking people who are correctly calling him out, that causes people to go, oh my God, what else has he done this on? That's it. That's why it's such a wake-up moment, like a wake-up call for, I guess, the last remaining group of people that are supposed to be Elon Musk fanboys. I think coming after Asmongold like this is unironically one of the worst things he could have done, because that is like a bastion of pro-Elon sentiment. Like, that's one of the last like massive communities that probably has like any sort of positive opinions on Elon Musk. He already lost the white nationalists and the mega racists with the H-1B stuff, because he was like, I want to replace all of you. In their minds, they think Elon wants to replace all the tech workers with Indian tech workers. So they're already like very upset at him, right? He was already getting cooked on that front. They were like, oh man, we really loved you when you let us be like as racist as we want to be. But now it's like, now it's kind of messed up because we realized that you put profits over, we thought you were a real one. We thought you were a real racist. And it seems like you put profits over racism, and that's kind of messed up. And now he's losing the gamers. He's still got his crypto bros though. Yeah, he'll never lose those guys. But those guys are permanent bag holders. So you know, it's virtually impossible for them to lose the crypto bros, because they're used to getting cooked. Like their whole world is just like constantly believing in false profits and you know, losing the bag, having getting rug pulled over and over again, and then thinking this time it'll be different, when there is no evidence that it will be different. It'll be the exact same. It's been the exact same every single time so far. So those guys are kind of stupid. I'm gonna be honest with you. It's like, you know, it's like selling timeshare to a Mormon, you know?
Watching Elon the bumbling buffoon try and play Path of Exile was like actual rage bait to get me to go back in and grind hard. So now I'm up to tier 3 waystones in the end game. It's so fucking fun. But anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. The point is, Elon Musk knew nothing about the game. It was very clear. And the big thing about it wasn't even that he had someone boosting his account for him. It's that he was just in this complete denial and trying to convince people that he is the best gamer alive. Like, this game's a little too easy. I'm on max difficulty, you know, swagged out mode, and I'm just kind of breezing through it because I'm just that good at games, that kind of thing. It's his reluctance to just be honest about like, hey guys, I like this game. I don't have time to grind it, so I paid these people to grind it for me so that way I can get to the end game and, you know, play the content I want. It wouldn't have blown up to this degree. I still think that would have been a little silly, and people would have still absolutely made fun of him for it, but to a lesser degree. It's just, what's the point? Why are you paying someone to boost your account? If you like the game, why not just play it on your own time, even if it's not that fast and even if you're not top of the charts? But for Elon, the reason is because he wants everyone to view him as God's gift to humanity. So like, I'm one of the best gamers, check the stats. And he didn't achieve it. It wasn't him. And when Quinn made this video, very much hurt Elon, because the game...
It's not even like, why cheat? I understand why he cheated, okay? I get that, because it's like marketing for him. He thinks it's like boosting his gamer cred. Why cheat to this degree is the real question. Like, you could have cheated smarter, dumbass. You didn't have to be number 7 on the planet. I'm telling you right now, if Elon Musk hired someone, a team of like very good Path of Exile players in China, okay, to farm his account, to constantly boost his account, to engage in like real currency trading in the game, right? Real money trading in the game. All of that is, to a certain degree, if done correctly, would not have caused people to get this mad. Because if you were in the top 500, that's still an incredibly impressive feat, right? But his hubris caused him to go harder and harder and harder and put himself at top 7. Like, that's crazy. I mean, it's just so obvious that it's not. It would have been obvious that it's not you, even if you were in the top 100. Okay. But when you're in the top 10, more people end up paying attention to it. Like, the dumbest person you know in high school knows not to cheat to get 100% on an exam. If you're going to cheat, you have to get like a B+ at best. You're not supposed to get 100% on the exam, man. That is going to cause your teacher to go, wait a minute, you're one of the best in the class. Like, come on. It literally shows how stupid he is. That to me is a perfect demonstration. It's like you're not supposed to cheat and get 100%. You're going to get unnecessary attention. It's something that you learn in like 3rd grade, man.
Gamers that he's trying to appeal to were privy to the fact that he's not the gaming god he claims to be. And that damaged him. So I knew he was going to have a comical response, but I didn't expect it would be this absurd. To set the stage for what happens next, Asmon and many others covered Quinn's video, as well as other people's content talking about how it was impossible that Elon was the one that actually played on that account because he is just dog shit and knows nothing about the game. Asmon covered this, he talked about it, reacted to the video, and today, Elon went on Twitter and had this to say. Asmon behaves like a maverick independent, but in reality has to ask his boss for permission before he can do anything. He is not his own man.
Dude, and then he leaked private DMs. You're the wealthiest person on the planet, and you're beefing with a guy who had a dead rat as an alarm clock in his house that he rarely leaves. And you're beefing with him and you're leaking his private DMs. What is wrong with you? Asmongold was caught with a live roast, literally crawling on him, and you're beefing with him as the wealthiest, most powerful person on the planet you're about to be in the incoming administration. You have every agency in the federal government that is prosecuting virtually every single company that you own. And now you are going to be in charge of all of those regulatory agencies, and you are spending your time arguing with Asmongold. I cannot explain to you how much I love this story because of how stupid it is, because how perfectly this demonstrates once again that meritocracy is a lie. Everything Elon Musk does is so narcissistic, so insecure, so ego-driven, and so utterly idiotic that it perfectly exemplifies the lie that is that he worked hard and he worked smart to achieve the level of wealth and power he achieved. This is a 53-year-old man with not 1, not 2, not 4, not 10, 12 children. One of his children he actually has disowned. And this man is spending time on beefing with Asmongold. Okay? That, to me, is insane. It is a perfect demonstration that, like, CEOs don't do much, okay? That's the broader takeaway that I want all of you to get from this story, is that if you believe the lie that if someone is super wealthy, they really deserved it, okay? Even though, ironically, you're watching someone like myself who very clearly lucked into all of this success and all of this, financial success specifically. Duh. But aside from myself, like, if you look at someone like Elon Musk and you believe the lie that these billionaires have worked hard and worked smart to get to the point that they got to, and they're still working hard and they're still working smart at the same time, while they're specifically doing this petty, nonsensical bullshit, okay? This should be a wake-up call for you. That's it. That's it. It's a wake-up call. Please. Well, I mean, in my case, I do actually quite literally put in the hours. It's visible. It's what I do my job requires me to be on camera, so you see it. But with Elon, because he's behind a veneer of hard work that he can work in the shadows or whatever, people still speculate that he's working really hard behind the scenes. But like, he works extra hard, in my opinion, to basically prove that he's not working hard. Okay. Yeah, the wealthiest CEO on earth, ironically enough, this is a good point, Gremlo. The wealthiest CEO on earth would beef with Asmongold because he's got the time, but a top 5 Path of Exile 2 hardcore player wouldn't have the time to beef with Asmongold. That is the reality. If Elon Musk actually was a top 7 Path of Exile 2 player, he literally would not have enough time to send tweets to Asmongold or send any tweets at all, because he'd be grinding at least 18 hours a day, at least. It is a feat that is virtually impossible for one singular person, especially considering RNG and how important trade is in order for you to get the best possible items and in order for you to be at the tippy top. Okay. Like, it's no matter how hard you work in Path of Exile, there's still the element of RNG that you cannot overcome. So clearly, he's not working hard on anything. He's just working hard on this type of shit.
Then leaked his DMs with Asmon, where he said, this is Asmon, I'm going to see if my editors might want to make a second account for it. And then Elon replies, sure. Who are these mysterious editors?
That's crazy to me. He's like tracking Asmongold's editors because he's mad. He's mad at the way his editors, like, most likely from context clues, like, I think he was upset at the way, or like Asmongold kind of probably said like, oh, my editors title my videos like I didn't do it myself or something, right? And Elon, being the 53-year-old man that he is, thought that his editors, okay, being the 53-year-old man that he is, in this former conversation from November 29, 2024, thinks that his editors are like a news editor. He doesn't understand anything. Think about that. He literally heard Asmongold be like, oh, these are my editors, right? They run the YouTube account. Like, this is, so any content I post is edited or uploaded by them, and they just get a cut of the ad revenue. It's a super good system, to be honest. Almost everyone on YouTube does it. Elon Musk thought that meant Asmongold works for his editors and not vice versa, because he is 53 years old and thinks that it works in the same way that it does in newspapers, because he posted this private correspondence with Asmongold with the tweet that accompanied it stating, oh, Asmongold is owned by these people.
He actually sounds like that news anchor. Who is this 4chan? Like, how can someone be this fucking out of touch and stupid? I will never cease to be shocked by the absolute idiot potion this guy seems to be boofing on.
Do you understand how stupid this is? Asmon's DMs to his editors after his convo with Elon.
I said Elon hit me up and was asking if I'd want to post clips and videos on Twitter. Do y'all think it's a good idea? It would probably make separate account for it for monetization. He says that's cool, LOL. I know he asked XQC before too, but I hadn't seen any similar content creators get crazy.
He asked XQC? Yo, Elon Musk is so invested in Twitch. Oh my God. Oh, Jeff Bezos, save me. Jeff Bezos, please protect me. Jeff Bezos, you are my God King. Please don't turn Twitch into the failure that has become Washington Post with your decision making. Okay, please. I am so scared. Has he DM'd you? No, I know Elon knows who I am. I've talked about this before. I had Grimes on the stream, chat. Yes, he is not a fan. I know all of that. I will not reveal my sources, but yes, of course, I know for a fact that, especially since the Grimes stream, he is very aware of who I am and does not like me at all. Having said that, however, we're just gonna act like that's not the case, because I don't like when people that are that powerful, people that are that wealthy are aware of my existence. So I try not to think about it. I really hope that Jeff Bezos, for example, has no fucking clue who I am. I don't think he does, but I'm glad that he doesn't know, and we should keep it that way. Okay. But Elon, I do know. I know for a fact. But hey, listen, I post on Twitter a lot. Okay. So please. Anyway, plus I'm right wing now. Exactly. I'm right wing. I love Trump. Please don't come after me. Anyway,
Some more content creators get crazy numbers doing that. People are free to repost as much as they want. I feel the opportunity is there. We would have already started spamming clips and videos on TikTok. There are already some repost clips that get a lot of views. Maybe you can tell people to do it in the next stream, and then we can see how it goes. Exactly. So this is the conversation we had. Yeah, this is there it is. Seems like you need their approval, no? Well, I would need their approval in a way.
That's so funny that people are trying to debate Asmongold and being like, seems like you are owned by your editors. Like, even in his own community, there's still people who are so invested in like defending Elon Musk that they're like, no, dude, that's not how this works. Like, it is because he needs their approval. He needs their approval because like he has a more ethical way of running his business than you would suspect from someone like Asmongold. That's it. Okay. Literally do the same thing like Asmon. The editors clip part of your VOD and put the title and thumbnail and yeah, exactly. Of course, most people in our field have a much more ethical way of doing business. Yeah, this is the only time that Elon Musk is like, what? Step Brothers is the perfect meme for Jeff Bezos and me. Wait, no, this is not it. There was another instance where Elon actually did like reply to someone making fun of me or something, but that's it. What is this? They use Hassan as an example in new community notes guidelines. I'm a fact checker for Meta. They have a fact checking community notes now in the official guidelines. They used Hassan as an example. Claim that the Trump rally shooter has been identified as Hank Baker is false. According to fact checking website Check Your Fact, which found the image circulating online misidentifies the actual suspect. Explanation from Meta. This note is helpful because it cites high-quality sources, provides helpful additional context, and uses neutral and easy-to-understand language. That's hilarious. With me wearing the I lubricate my AR-15 with liberal cum shirt, too. Oh, yeah, this was the one time that he made fun of me. Landed in Mexico and immediately got detained for customs for having too many pieces of electronic equipment for which they made up a number and forced me to pay taxes on. Yeah, but anyway, getting back to it, we're gonna talk about this back and forth. I just wanted to cover like the broader strokes of the story.
Daily, like how? What do you mean? Who are these mysterious editors? Do you not know what editors are? Holy shit!
No, Charlie, he's 53 years old, so he thinks editors have editorial control over content creators because he doesn't understand that they are video editors. He thinks that they are editors in the same vein as editors at the New York Times, because in traditional press, in mainstream media, editors have editorial control over what journalists are writing. They're kind of like a boss, a manager. That's what he thinks is going on here. That is the hilarious part of this story.
So then Asmon explains, two guys, links them, and then they basically run the entire YouTube account, lol. So basically any content I post is edited or uploaded by them, and they can just get a cut of the ad rev. It's a super good system, to be honest. Almost everyone on YouTube does it. And then there's a community note there, which says what should be obvious to anyone with a functioning frontal lobe. Elon Musk seems to think Asmongold is an employee with editors overseeing him. That's incorrect. Asmongold's editors are actually his employees. They upload his content for a revenue share. They don't control what he does. And then Elon Musk proceeds to take away Asmongold's checkmark on Twitter. You remember that thing Elon was like really adamant about, you know, how checkmarks were kind of like weaponized? Hey, Elon, you're doing that. So the free speech guy, you're taking away his checkmark because he hurt your feelings, fundamentally shadow banning him, because without a checkmark, his replies and his engagement go way down and you won't really see it anymore. You're shadow banning someone who hurt your feelings.
Mr. Free Speech, by the way, Mr. Free Speech, once again, Mr. Free Speech.
Elon is just that fucking sensitive. In fact, sensitive doesn't even really cover it. Like, my cock gets sensitive when it gets sucked for too long. I'm like, ooh. But, like, that's sensitive. Elon has reached a new level of sensitivity I did not think was even achievable by a human being. It is fucking flabbergasted by how soft he is. He has all the money in the world, but is beyond insecure to the point that I can't believe he's a real person. This has to be some kind of like Android protocol that's been sent from space, from like space Redditors, in order to see like the limits of cringe that can be pushed. Come on. He's talking about editors and then saying Asmon needs his editor's permission to post things. He lacks the fundamental understanding not only of Path of Exile 2, but of life. Like, of living as a sentient being. How can you even reach that conclusion? I mean, I know how he reached that conclusion, because he is a turbo moron who can't, like, activate neurons and think. So he saw the word editor and made the assumption that it's like the editors that will oversee someone's work in the journalism sector. And he gets these dots, these breadcrumbs that he starts connecting from out of fucking nowhere about how, well, Asmon is actually just a pawn of his editors. That's not just wrong, that is just blatant misinformation. He is actively engaging in misinformation, making it seem like Asmon has a puppet master above him, these editors, that he has to...
Yeah, if he knew anything about Asmongold, he would recognize that his puppet master is his Reddit, okay? People that post on his subreddit. Like, that's the real puppeteers of Asmongold to a certain degree. There are issues that he'll take a stance on against his community's best, against his community's opinion. But, like, the real puppet masters are not his editors, all right?
Answer to. And then he abuses his power to take away his checkmark. He is actively doing all of the things he says he is super against, and all of the people say that he hates and will never do. He does it. I'm
going to say it. Critical support to Asmongold in this trying time, okay?
I don't see how a single Elon Musk nipple-suckling leech could see this and conjure up some kind of excuse for it. There's no mental gymnastics that could possibly exist to justify this behavior. It's the epitome of everything people hate. It's cringe.
A lot of critical support here. Critical support for Quinn and critical support for Asmongold. I mean,
It's sensitive.
in these trying times.
It's an abuse of power. His feelings got hurt, so he used his power.
Yeah, detente with Asmonation remains in effect. Exactly. Listen, sometimes you make allegiances in the most interesting places, okay?
As the fucking chief general of Twitter to take away his checkmark because he hurt his feelings. And then he goes on to leak DMs. How could you possibly look at that and be like, no, that makes sense. Elon was in the right here.
What? He has been sucking up trying to get back in Elon's good graces all day. Wait, really? That's disappointing. But Elon is such a petty bitch that I feel like he might not.
Like, let's say you just love Elon. You know what? I'm not your dad. You can like whoever you want, like whatever you want. Doesn't matter to me. But why do you have to like something and then love everything they ever do? Why can't you be more receptive to, like, I really like Elon, but this was a bad look. I didn't.
Earlier, Asmon was saying Elon was probably right and he probably deserved it and Elon did an oopsie, but it's fine. No. Still a W for Quinn. He worked hard on that video. Yeah, I love that Quinn is just bouldering Elon. He doesn't give a damn. By Elon's logic, your boss used to be the top of the hour ad break. It's true. My boss used to be the top of the hour ad break, but it no longer is because at the top of the hour, I no longer run ad breaks because I no longer have a contract. Okay. Having said that, however, you can still subscribe, not to avoid the ads at the top of the hour like you used to be able to, but instead to support the stream. If you would like to do so, it is $6 or free with a Twitch Prime. Ladies and gentlemen, you can also get gifted a sub if you're lucky. Subscriptions give you emotes, allow you to avoid the limitations that there sometimes exist on follow mode, and also Blighty sent me links. Sect Haver, thank you for the 10 gifted subs, allowing 10 people to no longer see the ads at the top of the hour that I don't actually serve. Anyway, let's continue.
I didn't like what he did here. I think this was pretty embarrassing. That's called being normal. For some reason, people just can't be normal anymore. If you like something, you have to be obsessed with it. You have to fucking love it. You have to be, like, snorting that drug constantly and shut out and hate everyone who pokes holes in it. It's so weird. I don't know why people want to live their life this way. They just want, like, the black and white. Elon good. Anyone who said Elon not good, they're bad. Elon good. I don't...
Asmongold said it wasn't a big deal. Elon leaked his DMs. That's insane. That is insane. You're talking about the guy who runs this platform, man. He's basically like, he's basically pointing unnecessary attention towards your editors, dude. What the hell? That is how do you ride that dick after the dick has been spoiled, I don't
know why people want that. No one likes to think anymore, and with the way the internet's gone, you don't have to think anymore. You can just wait for tweets to tell you what to think, or even chat GPT to tell you what to think. I guess it's just easier to live your life on, like, drooling autopilot mode. But I would argue that you are doing yourself a huge disservice in life if you just live this way, where even if you really like Elon, whatever, why not just be receptive to the idea that he's not infallible? Maybe he does make mistakes. Maybe he is cringe sometimes. And you can acknowledge that, recognize that, and then at the end of the day, still like him if you want. It just doesn't compute with me. And of course, it's not exclusive to Elon. It's a very normal thing now all of a sudden where if you like something or like someone, anything that is brought up that's negative about it is like the end of the world to you. And then you spend hours a day arguing with bots on Twitter about it and defending the thing you like. I just don't get it. Elon Musk, I think, is just the best example of this phenomenon because his fan base does PR for him as if it's their actual job. Like,
yeah. It's like the worst of the worst in terms of like parasocial behavior because Elon Musk has the money to actually hire people. Like if there's one guy that could just like simply hire people to do PR for him, it's Elon. And he does PR, right? He has a PR team. So what's crazy to me is that like people in that situation still ride him into oblivion. They ride him into oblivion like a bunch of medieval peasants that think that this is their only opportunity, a shot at being a part of the aristocracy. Okay? Like they straight up, I totally understand how these like, my lord deserves the extra grain type peasants existed. Okay? Back in the day, during times of monarchy where the lordship and the God-ordained divine king was able to command such a large swath of the population because they thought that they could have a crumb. They thought that they could have a crumb of the gold that the king has in his dungeons, okay? That's straight up what it is. Please take my wife on prima nocta, my lord. I would be honored if you took my teenage wife's virginity, my lord. That's what they're doing. That's how they're operating. Like for a shot, for a crumb of like Elon Musk's attention, they just literally do free PR for him. It makes no sense. At least back then, the leaders appealed to divinity. Today, there's no logic other than money equals power equals intelligence. Yes, the thing that held that kind of structure under theocratic monarchies was obviously the fact that, you know, God made the king, right? And that's why he deserved it. Now it is a failed notion of meritocracy under capitalism. It's not God that put Elon in that position. It's actually this lie that society constantly reinforces that Elon actually worked harder and worked smarter than everybody else to get to that position. That's it. That's it. This is what I mean, I've said this many, many times over. It's just like we worship the throne of the almighty dollar, okay? Instead of previously assuming that someone in a position of power was God ordained. And for some people, it is actually still godliness. America is predisposed with this. America is predisposed with the notion that like with the notion of prosperity gospel, right? That like if you are poor, it's because of your own moral failures. If you're rich, it's because God has actually shined his graceful light upon you because you deserve to be rich. So there is that same mechanism of reinforcement even with American understandings of Christianity as well. So there is that too. Make no mistake. Have you mentioned that Elon is doubling down on being a God gamer? Yes, I'm going to get to it in a second. Hold on. We got more.
Like they are professional PR drones for Elon that he doesn't even have to pay. Because they are in the trenches every single minute of every single day, suckling on him, arguing on his behalf, shutting down any criticisms against him. It's just so embarrassing. Almost as embarrassing as Elon himself. So yeah, anyway, I had to talk about this. Because what an incredible response from Elon to just take away Asmon's check mark and then leak his DMs where he completely misunderstands that editors aren't like his overseers. It's so, oh my god.
Anyway, so, but the story doesn't end there. So one of these like Elon Musk dick riders, basically, you know, American YouTuber, Twitch partner, gamer living in Seoul, comes out in defense of Elon Musk, making a full YouTube video. Elon Musk, of course, immediately responds to it because, again, he has so much time on his hands. Like, how did he find this guy? Like, how did he see this video? Like, anyway, It's got 1.3 thousand likes. I wonder how many it did before Elon even replied to it. But Elon replies and says, Asmon behaves like a maverick independent, but in reality, has to ask his boss for permission before he can do anything. He's not his own man. Okay? And that's crazy because this reinforces the idea that we were talking about previously, his stupid understanding of what editors are, because he thinks that Asmongold's editors are his bosses. Okay? He thinks Asmongold's editors are editors in the same vein as like a New York Times editor, like a managerial staff position. Okay? And then he gets context noted. Asmongold does not have bosses. He employs content editors to package and redistribute content from his live to streams and on other platforms. And then he doubles down or triples down, quadruples down. Here's me doing a world record Diablo AOZ clear with Ace of Spades headquarters on stream. And then Ian Miles, Dick Rider Wrong responds, I'm a regular Quinn69 viewer. He's gone from being the biggest Elon meat writer to thinking Elon's a total clown as a result of this. Oh, amazing. I love that. I love that more people are recognizing how he is. All right. You shouldn't have to justify yourself to these people, but it's nice that you've got receipts to prove your gaming credentials. Elon responds to his biggest meat writer and he says, I'm on hundreds of streams on YouTube and Twitch playing live with the world's best players. No other way to say this, but while Asmon is good at caustic commentary, making fun of people, he is not good at video games. Once again, by the way, repeating that Elon Musk is an Asmongold fan for the record. Connor, of course, took advantage of the situation and said, can vouch for this. As one of the world's best gamers, it was electric having you on Fortnite Friday. Keep proving the doubters wrong. Back to Grok. Lamau, loving it on here. To which Asmongold also replied to not the Maverick tweet, but the other one. Oh, this is where it all began, obviously. Like, he posted this as proof. It's just like, I think people who are Elon reply guys who just like try to defend him everywhere online are some of the lowest of the low. Like, I can't think of being in a lower, I can't imagine being in a lower position than that. Like, you are such a, like, you have no self-respect, no self-worth whatsoever. Like, you are just the bottom of the barrel in society, honestly. It's it's disgusting to me. I don't know. Maybe it's too much for me, but I genuinely find that to be so gross. I also don't understand it because it's like, I still, to this day, don't understand why Elon is so desperate for taking matters into his own hands in terms of like doing his own PR. I mean, I get it because he is truly stupid. He's not like the brilliant savant that he portrays himself to be. But it's just so stupid that he just won't delegate this one thing, right? Like, just hire a PR team and never be online. It's so dumb. The more you appear online, the more accessible you are, the more people are going to recognize that you're a pathetic little ego-driven narcissistic man-child. I don't get it. If I had his level of wealth, okay, I would have dropped the socialism shit a long ass time ago. Let's be real, right? I can't even get to that level of wealth and prosperity without obviously exploiting millions of people. But I would just never be online. Like, I would never actually entertain access. There are a ton of other billionaires who don't do that on purpose. They don't do that because they understand that if you interact with the average person, they're inevitably going to realize that, like, there's no difference between you and them. And as a matter of fact, you might be dumber than the average person as a matter of fact. So, like, they're going to start entertaining the notion. They're going to start destroying the notion, dissolving the notion of meritocracy in real time. But because he's so narcissistic and demonstrates so much hubris that he thinks he can still overcome this. Okay? It's very, very sad. If I was a part of the billionaire consortium, if I was a part of like this like shadowy league of billionaires, I would try to do everything in my physical power to stop Elon from posting. he is messing up the bag for the rest of the billionaires. Okay? Straight up. Like, if I'm Richard Branson, I'm like, what are you doing, dude? You're ruining the situation for us. We've had it so good. We currently have wealth inequality to the same level as the Gilded Age. Like, we're talking Great Depression era wealth inequality. Shut up and build a new wing for a museum. What's wrong with you? What is this constant, like, desperate, self-effacing, and sometimes self-aggrandizing way of trying to routinely get the sweatiest people to be on board with everything that you're doing, to have them admire you and think of you as this, like, brilliant guy? If you want that, get a news hit. You can pay for it. Like, there is the reason why there is all of this, like, pre-existing Elon praise is quite literally because he used to do that. Understand? Because he got Time Magazine to write glazing articles about him. He got all people used to consider him to be Tony Stark. And basically he is still running on the initial propping from mainstream media. He also lucked into a tremendous amount of wealth and was able to lie his way to the top over and over and over again. And once you get enough institutional investors on board who have a vested interest in you maintaining your credibility, okay, then because you're the key man for all of these companies that have other people that are invested in it, then they're going to try to defend you to the best of their ability. And Elon regularly tries to ruin that. That's why you don't know much about German billionaires at all. They stay hidden as much as they can instead of trying to be a celebrity. Yeah. But the thing is, if you are a billionaire, here's the thing. If you are a billionaire, you can already you can purchase that level of admiration through the appropriate channels. Do you understand? You can buy that kind of fealty. The problem is he won't do it that way. He won't do it through the appropriate ways of buying that kind of fealty when there is a multi-billion-dollar marketing and PR sector cultivated specifically to be able to do that, right? Instead of going through the regular route of just, like I said, donating a bunch of your money to, museums or whatever and have your name slapped on the side of a museum. He tries to do it directly. Okay? And that is a failure. There is a reason why other wealthy people don't do this, don't do what Elon is doing, and do the other thing that they've done historically. Okay? And he's been doing this since he called that British diver in Thailand a pedophile, The Resnicks here in LA are a great example. They're shut up evil but enjoy good PR thanks to their friendship with Colbert and museum donations. Yep. It's amazing how embarrassing it is, how much power, how much awesome power this man has over the lives of the Americans and maybe even the rest of the planet. And he's over here duking it out with Asmongold, man. And over what? Over what? Because Asmongold dared entertain the notion that he was phony in video games. Asmongold, every other day of the week, has slopped up Elon Musk. Every other day of the week. It's shocking that despite his endless admiration about Elon, the one time where he's like, yeah, man, it seems like you're fake about Path of Exile, something that virtually everyone else has recognized, he just goes, no, that's a bridge too far. Speaking of the Resnicks and Pistachio Wars, do you know if Yasha Levin has any beef with you? There was a tweet I wasn't sure how to interpret during the Ethan drama. Wait, no, Yasha loves me. What are you talking about? He DM'd me directly after the firefighter, the firefighter coverage. No, I don't have any beef with him. Yeah, I like that the community notes are also talking about like, oh, they deleted it. No way. The community notes are talking about like Asmongold's accomplishments as a gamer. No, it's there. I just saw it. I mean, the website is so busted, so not an accident that like you can kind of see it but not see it as well. Warcraft logs is such a misinterpretation of WoW player skill, just so you know. Yeah, I mean, I don't really care. what I do know is that Elon is a fake gamer and Asmongold is a more real gamer, even on the aesthetic side. Okay, let's be real. Asmongold is even just on looks alone. Okay, judging if you put a photo of Asmongold side by side with Elon and you were like, which one of these is a real gamer? 99.9% would say Asmongold. Okay. Also, Asmongold doesn't claim to be the best gamer anyway. I don't think he has ever done that, as a matter of fact. He just, I mean, he is a degenerate gamer, and that much is true. I don't know, bro. If you ask me, it's hard, both are nerdy. Come on, dog. Asmongold literally looks like the archetype of a person who has spent too much time in front of the computer. This doesn't mean that like Elon Musk doesn't look like a degenerate. He does, but in a different way. I do want to maintain the position that before we get to some less serious news, like the hostage deal that Benjamin Netanyahu was trying to cook once again in the same way that he tried to do, in the same exact way that he tried to do to Joe Brandon. We'll see how Trump responds to this. I forgot what I was going to say. Never mind. He's halfway to that dumb predictive future gamer body archetype. Less serious. Yes. I don't know if you understand this, but I'm joking. Like that was a joke. Like obviously this is significantly more serious than gamer drama. That's like not even, that's sarcasm 101, dude. That's crazy. Like that's a crazy thing to assume. Bro thought jokes would fly. That's crazy. Yeah, they're going to be reporting on, they're going to be voting on it tomorrow morning. I know. And yes, I'm familiar with the Zin FDA approval. Finally, we won. The Zinfidels won something. And also, don't worry, I will be covering David Lynch's passing as well. A very important figure for the arts.
News overnight, a ceasefire deal between Israel and Hamas is still in place, but there is at the very least a new delay this morning that everyone is trying to get a better handle on what it really means. Here's what we know at this hour. Israel's cabinet needs to vote to ratify the deal. That has not happened as it was expected to. Israel delayed it, citing last-minute issues. Again, what this now means exactly for the phased-in ceasefire and hostage deal, it's unclear. It's all supposed to begin on Sunday. Under the deal, Hamas has agreed to release 33 hostages in the first phase. Israel agreed to release 1,000-plus Palestinian prisoners. All of that resulting in a 42-day ceasefire with hopes it leads to a permanent one. Let's get to CNN's Bianna Gold.
Wow. Maybe now the media will report on what's going on accurately. I wonder who the responsible party is for messing up the ceasefire negotiations once again. I wonder if it's Hamas or if it is, for the 15th month in a row, Benjamin Netanyahu's coalition. I wonder who is, after like the 8th time that they've actually signed off on an agreement. It seems strange to me. I wonder who is the responsible party.
Rodriguez, she's live in Tel Aviv with much more on this. Bianna, help us understand, what is the status here? What is the latest?
Kate, good morning to you. So all of these things remain rather fluid, but the latest, it does appear to be just a delay in the process of getting a security cabinet and ultimately a party cabinet vote in the government here. As you noted, Prime Minister Netanyahu blaming Hamas for what he says is reneging on parts of the deal. Hamas, for their part, are denying those allegations. Everyone I'm speaking with here still believes, though, that a ceasefire deal will go into place as had been agreed upon beginning Sunday night, where we would see the first hostages in phase 1 of those 33 released here to Israel. Hospitals have been on standby and ready to receive those hostages. In terms of the politics of it all, Prime Minister Netanyahu is facing a lot of headwinds, as we've been reporting now for months, from the far-right elements specifically of his government, of his coalition, who do not want to agree to a deal under these terms. What the latest we have is that Finance Minister Bezalel Smotrich has said that his party would agree to stay with the coalition through phase 1 of the deal. That is the release of those 33 hostages and the pause in fighting, only if the fighting would be allowed to proceed again after phase 1. So there you just get a sense of how fluid and fragile this deal is right now. But Kate, when it comes to the hostages coming home, in phase one, as you noted, it would be the women, it would be children, it would be men over the age of 50 and those who are critically wounded. And among those women are 5 IDF spotters, are soldiers. Reminder that everyone in Israel is required.
Yeah. Israeli Israeli military members are still considered hostages, but Palestinian civilians, 10,000 of them, are considered prisoners, which is again doublespeak for the record. Like, just so you understand, it's a part of manufacturing that same exact consent that that the media routinely engages in, right? Like, we're talking women and children that have been falsely detained by the Israeli government. They're being considered as prisoners. The numbers are like 10,000 at this point.
Required to serve in the military. These 5 IDF spotters, all young, the ages of 19 to 21. I spoke.
Yeah, these children who also are generals, by the way. Yeah, look, you don't understand. These guys are all young. They're just spotters. They're just spotters. Like, no, they're a part of the military. They're a part of the military that's currently engaging in a ethnic cleansing campaign. Like, that's crazy. They're not hostages in that regard. They would be prisoners of war.
With the cousin of one of them, that Agam Berger's cousin. She is 20 years old. I spoke with her cousin about what this moment may feel like for them when they are finally reunited and why there's a bittersweet sense in the country right now.
She's a beautiful young girl who's been 15.
Like, stories exactly like this one. For the record, I'm not discounting that these people have their own personal stories and their personal upbringing and their, you know, and the role they play in the lives of those who love them. Okay. But I also want you to understand that, like, each individual Palestinian has the exact same story as well. So remember what the media in the Western world especially pays attention to and how they treat Israeli occupying force soldiers that are held captive versus the thousands of women and children that have been falsely imprisoned in perpetuity by the Israeli government in the maintenance of an apartheid, and how they get presented. This framing is very important because it reinforces the humanity of each individual Israeli, and it actually reinforces the dehumanization of each individual Palestinian. Your hatred of Israel blinds you. What point do you feel like I am blinded? Like, what do you think? What do you mean by that? Because I already said that, of course, every single Israeli that's being held captive is a human being with lives and loved ones, okay, that miss them. Okay? I get that. I understand that. But do you think that each individual Palestinian that is in the same exact predicament, if not worse predicaments overall, in terms of like legal permissibility, in terms of international human rights and Israel's routine violation of that at the behest of maintaining an apartheid state? Is your argument simply that I hate Israel and that's why I recognize Palestinians as humans? Perhaps. I wish to run into you one day in the street and break both of your kneecaps. Hassan Piker says, Xander Macha. Good luck, brother. Good luck on that. Not all of us agree with our government. Wait, what? I never said that. What are you talking about? I've never said that all Israelis 100% agree with their government. You just made that up. Also, the person who said this, you will not be doing that. You won't be doing that at all, as a matter of fact. If anything, if you were to actually see me out in the wild, okay, you would probably behave like a fan and try to get a photo and say how much you actually appreciate my commentary. You wouldn't dare to try to behave in the way that you claim that you would. At most, you would be in a Discord server talking about how you were going to, quote unquote, troll me and how much you were pissing your pants in that moment. But yeah, once again, going back to this other chatter, not the one who wants to break my kneecaps or whatever. I don't maintain this position. I don't know why you think I've said this. Does it make you feel like it's a better argument that you can present? Is that what it is? You know, I'll wait for your response. But a lot of this conversation basically devolves into that. Like the notion that Palestinians are not human and only Israelis are the real humans in this equation. Palestinians are faceless, lifeless, hive-minded parasitic forces that are constantly threatening the existence of the real humans in the region, the only people in the region. Okay. And many people's primary assumption is that, and they just operate off of that. You know what I mean? So much. If you were to potentially go back as an Israeli, completely support better future for the Palestinians, people and their families, they are people just like us. It's important you remember that many of us do. Yeah, except I do know that. Okay, I don't know if your perspective is commonly shared, because there is polling conducted inside of Israel regularly, where many Israelis agree with the consistent genocide, the offensive genocidal siege that Israel has implemented, the Israeli occupying forces implemented on the Gaza Strip. But having said that, if you were in here long enough, you'd recognize that I talk to my Israeli chatters with regular frequency, and I even talk to members of the Knesset, and even talk to conscientious objectors, and rely on Israeli sources of investigative reporting with regular frequency once again. So just so you understand, there are plenty of Israeli chatters in here right now in this community. I'm probably one of the only places where they have access to even watching the likes of Al Jazeera, for example, since your government banned it. Anyway, but yeah, having said that, this is not a, you're arguing against a thing that I don't believe. Let's continue.
Months in the hands of people that we know committed the worst atrocities against women in one day. We know what they did on October 7th. We also know from released hostages who came home what they did to hostages in captivity. That's the biggest fear. The physical aspect of it, and I don't need to go into detail. I think everyone who's watching understands what that fear means. But more importantly, the mental and emotional aspect of what kind of trauma something like that can do to a young girl who's 20 years old, who has her whole life ahead of her.
All right, Bianca Golodriga for us in Tel Aviv. Bianca's going to be all over it. A lot of developments could be coming on this today.
David Sanger, let me start with you. You, of course, have been covering this deal closely. Is there anything to this last-minute hiccup with the Israeli?
I thought you'd ban the kneecap, dude. Nah. I mean, I'm not afraid of it. And I'm sure issuing a direct threat to the streamer is a site-wide ban anyway. So I suspect that regardless of whether or not I ban that person, they probably will get banned across the board from Twitch permanently. Yeah. See? Very stupid thing to do, honestly. We're going to talk about the reporter that was dragged away from the State Department briefing in a second.
Cabinet, how serious is that here?
It could be. We don't know yet. I do know that up to the last few hours before they announced the agreement yesterday, Casey, Hamas was coming up with sort of last-minute things they were putting on the table. It's a very usual technique on their part, and the question is, can that be put down?
This is just an alternative reality. They are existing in a totally different plane of existence. Okay? It's completely, simply put, this is just a lie. Okay? That's it. It's just a lie. You're in opposite world. It feels as though you are just lying and going along with what the State Department has said over and over again, in spite of what people can see with their own two eyes, right? It's such a weird thing to do over and over again when, like, it's the easiest thing to disprove. The notion that it's actually Hamas that's ruining these ceasefire negotiations and not Israel is ridiculous. It is completely made up. It is the exact opposite. I cannot stress this enough. And we have shown numerous examples, time and time again. The narrative being pushed today by Israel is that Hamas is reneging on the terms of the Gaza agreement, but as it has been from the start, it is actually Netanyahu. The Prime Minister's office announced on Thursday morning that the IDF would not withdraw from the Philadelphia corridor during the first phase of the hostage deal on Thursday morning. Contrary to misleading reports, Israel is not withdrawing from the Philadelphia corridor. Israel will remain in Phase A in the corridor for an entire 42-day period, the statement said. The scope of forces will remain at its current size, but will be deployed differently, encompassing outposts, patrols, observations, and control along the entire corridor. So they won't let the Rafah border open, okay? They won't let Gaza and Egypt take control over their own borders, which is a non-starter for understandable reasons. if you still control the humanitarian aid that's going into the Gaza Strip through the Rafah corridor, through the Philadelphia corridor, through the Rafah border, you're not withdrawing. You're not retreating at all. The scope of forces will remain at its current size, but will be deployed differently, encompassing outposts, patrols, observations, and control along the entire corridor. During Phase A, starting on the 16th day, negotiations will begin on ending the war. If Hamas does not agree to Israel's demands for ending the war, achieving war's objectives, Israel will remain in the Philadelphia corridor on the 42nd day and consequently beyond the 50th day. In practical terms, Israel will remain in the Philadelphia corridor until further notice, the statement concluded. Now, this right here is unacceptable for understandable reasons. This is not a cessation of hostilities. This is not a ceasefire. And I'll give you evidence to understand if you are still confused by this process. It's like Vladimir Putin saying, no, you don't understand. We are still going to maintain troop presence along virtually every part of Ukraine. Like, we're going to shut off Ukraine from Poland and many other bordering nations, and we are going to maintain troop presence to ensure that we completely encircle Ukraine. Now, of course, Ukraine is a much larger country, and it's not like a concentration camp that Israel has maintained for the past 76 years. So obviously, it's virtually impossible militarily to even do such a thing. But like, it is ridiculous. If Vladimir Putin was like, no, you don't understand, like, we are going to literally do that, everyone would say, yeah, that's insane. That is not a cessation of hostilities at all. Okay? What's Trump's play? Just pretend Israel's acting in good faith and take the W? I mean, I don't think he can. I don't think he can get away with it, just like Biden couldn't get away with it. So who knows? We'll see. We'll see how Trump differs from Biden on this. At least he understands who he's supposed to be pressuring in this regard. You know what I mean? So far, with the way that the negotiations have actually moved, and I don't know if there's a carrot and a stick where the carrot is basically you can go back to bombing Gaza or annexing the West Bank later down the line, but you know, and the stick being if you don't actually pull this ceasefire before my inauguration, I'm going to literally stop giving you weapons. But one thing remains clear: if you want to understand the truth of the matter, it is obvious that it's not Hamas that's ruining the ceasefire negotiations. They have said yes to this since July 2nd. Okay. It is the same. It is a version of Trump warns Israeli officials against restarting hostilities in Lebanon, reports the Jerusalem Post. Crisis between Israel and the U.S. Trump warns against collapse of Lebanon ceasefire exclusive. Sources close to the U.S. President-elect Donald Trump have reportedly conveyed a stern warning to Israeli officials. Israel since last night have increased their bombings and targeting of civilians according to on-the-ground press. They're telling civilians to be even more careful than usual. Yeah, no, I know that. That could be two different things, though. That could be because Israel always increases hostilities before the last second of the ceasefire, which is gross, but that is expected. What? Are you jealous? Asmongold is getting a bunch of clout of Elon's weekly e-beef number 84. Why would I be jealous of that? I personally love that they're beefing. I covered it earlier. It was awesome. I don't care about the quote unquote clout that Asmongold gets out of it. I already covered it. It was great. I'm a fan. It's free viewers. I mean, okay. That's a very weird and cynical way to approach the subject matter from your perspective. In any case, yeah, more people recognize that Elon Musk is a fraudulent, narcissistic, thin-skinned man-child is good in my book. It's A-okay. Anyway, you cannot convert them, brother. Read the Shahada. So much swab. What? I have no idea what you're talking about.
But the bigger question is, who's right in this dispute between the two? And the answer is really both. So the deal is essentially what President Biden laid out in May. It also, you may notice, this is January. So, that deal did not happen. And I think the fact that they did link up so well, and that Steve Witkoff, who is President Trump's incoming Mideast advisor, was out there in lockstep with Brett McGurk, who was President Biden's equivalent for that and has worked for Republican presidents as well. I think that made the difference because they were able to go to Netanyahu, send Witkoff and say, this is the deal that Trump wants. And I think that sort of helped put it over the marker.
David, Tom Malinowski, who's a former Democratic congressman, he put out a very interesting thread on Twitter, the first of which says that this was Biden's deal, but as much as I hate to say it, he couldn't have done it without Trump. Not so much Trump's performative threats to Hamas.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Hamas is already under maximum pressure, okay? It's called, you know, being genocided. There is no more pressure that you can put on Hamas than genocide, okay? You're genociding the Palestinian population in its entirety. There is no more pressure in that regard. That's the maximum thing that you can do. The difference here is Trump actually went to the responsible party and applied pressure to the responsible party. Also, why would you want to pressure? How would you pressure Hamas on a deal that they have presented since May, a deal that they signed off on since July? It makes no sense. Trump didn't do shit. Everyone's gullible suddenly. Hello? Wait, what? No, you have to understand. You have to understand. Trump did do things, most likely very bad things. Okay, but in the interim, something that had to be done, which was to apply pressure to Benjamin Netanyahu's side. And that's the only reason why Israel was like, all right, we're going to vote for this. We're going to pass the ceasefire. But now Benjamin Netanyahu's going back on it. The situation right now, if J-Post is right, Trump told Bibi he'd let Israel violate the ceasefire, keep sending arms, and lift sanctions on extremist/settlers. Despite these guarantees, Bibi still refused to sign the ceasefire, publicly says he wants to effectively nullify it by changing its terms to keep troops in Gaza until Hamas surrenders, and lies about Hamas sabotaging it. The ball is in Trump's court now. Exactly. No, I don't. I mean, I don't disagree with this. I agree with this. I agree with this. It's entirely dependent on what Trump does from this point on until the inauguration. Will he actually hold Benjamin? It's also entirely dependent on the ceasefire, accepting whether or not Israel will accept the ceasefire. We'll find out tomorrow. Okay, or in a couple hours, like I guess like 12 hours or so. But what you have to understand here is that Trump's pressure that led to Benjamin Netanyahu saying he was going to sign off on this, that led to Joe Biden coming out and saying the deal is done, Israel actually signed off on it, is yet another instance where like some additional factor applied extra pressure for this conversation to move. Okay. Now, does that mean that weapons transfers were on the table? I don't know. But your phrasing makes it seem like Trump personally did something and cares. No, I've never said that Trump cares about Palestinians. I've always maintained the position that Donald Trump does not care about Palestinians and most likely cut a side deal, which, you know, I'm speculating that he most likely cut a side deal with Benjamin Netanyahu, whether it be a permanent annexation of the West Bank or whether it be even in the interim period, a potential to throw the ceasefire negotiations aside. But the problem here is that outside of that side deal, there was definitely additional pressure applied. Now, we'll see if that pressure worked. Okay? If that pressure worked, we will see come tomorrow. But the only thing in this equation that was new was basically Donald Trump and Witkoff. Witkoff appearing as like the spokesperson for Donald Trump.
But his willingness to tell Bibi bluntly that the war had to end by January 20th. And he essentially goes on to say that while Biden did a great job working with European leaders, he did not bring the sort of thuggery to the table that is required in the Middle East. Do you think Malinowski's right about this?
I think he's absolutely right. And the reason that I would say that is, first of all, the relationship between President Biden and Prime Minister Netanyahu is poisonous would be a polite phrase for the term, okay? And
no, this isn't Trump's deal. This isn't Biden's deal. This isn't Israel's deal. This is Hamas's deal that Hamas presented in the early stages of February and then openly presented in May. The deal that Biden put forth in July 2nd that seemingly everyone was in line with, that Biden presented as Israel's very own deal, is the exact same deal, okay? Benjamin Netanyahu, throughout this process, has added additional poison provisions into it in an effort to continue bombing Gaza, in an effort to refuse to negotiate. If you want to cut this deal, it requires one singular phone call. Not a phone call to Hamas envoys, a phone call to Benjamin Netanyahu. I've been saying this for months. saying this for months. The party that is ruining this deal and refusing to abide by it is not Hamas. It's Benjamin Netanyahu. It's Israel. And the reality of the matter is, it's not even an exact comparison to Ronald Reagan, because Reagan was dealing with foreign adversaries, not with Israel. Okay? You don't understand. That's what makes the situation so much worse for Joe Biden in terms of how he chose not to deal with the problem and only escalate it. Because Israel would not exist without our unlimited support, without our unlimited political cover, and without our unlimited weapons transfers. Israel would run out of bombs a week in, okay? Maybe a month maximum. I have repeated this true fact over and over again for the past 15 months, okay? But unfortunately, the way that the media covers this is so built on top of this falsehood that they are repeating from the State Department that there's numerous reporting to suggest is completely incorrect, okay? That people just simply cannot comprehend that it is Israel that is the spoiling party. So therefore, it is Israel that you have to apply pressure to. And in this case, you have endless amounts of power to apply pressure to Israel. Endless amounts of power, because Israel is our colonial vestige. Israel is our weapon to wield in the region. That's it. That's what makes it so much worse for Biden, especially because Biden tries to maintain, or Democrats try to maintain, this like aesthetic that they are peace lovers, but simply are held up and they can't get both sides to agree to this ceasefire negotiation, when in reality it's not both sides that aren't agreeing, it's Benjamin Netanyahu that's not agreeing.
Second, the fact that they were able to send Witkoff, not Brett McGurk, but Witkoff, on Saturday to see Netanyahu and say, President Trump wants this resolved before Inauguration Day, in part so that it's not on him to go, be the one who was squeezing the Israelis. I don't think the Israelis would have made the deal. I think they would have just said, well, let's just see what we get out of Trump.
Interesting. Mike Dubke?
Well, first, on a serious matter, what's amazing to me is America matters. I mean, that's at the end of the day, what other country, we can have this argument about Trump or Biden, but what other country can step into an international conflict and really have the level of influence that we did in this? So to David's point, I mean, America matters. On the more of a lighthearted side, I'm sick and tired of these two arguing about golf scores. I'm sick and tired of these two arguing about who mattered. The fact that these two gentlemen got together, told their people to get this done, that's what's important here. I wish they would just both take the victory and be happy that we have a ceasefire after all these months.
Yeah, Haimo, what do you make? I mean, obviously, President Biden, we have seen, clearly is not ready to exit, especially the world stage. It's a
I don't know. I mean, I can't see this as anything but just like people lying in the most Reddit. You know, the Reddit phenomena that I talk about all the time, which is like, sometimes you'll see someone like basically comment something that is completely incorrect. And then there's like 11 subsequent comments replying to that, making jokes about that lie. But we've now established that lie as like the truth, and people are just circle jerking around this like abject lie. That's precisely what's happening on CNN this morning with Casey Hunt. Like, not a single person on this panel is going, hey guys, it kind of doesn't make sense that this deal looks identical to the deal that Hamas presented. It kind of doesn't make sense that, like, for the past, I guess, 15 months, or at least for the past 8 months, Biden has claimed that this is his deal, even though initially he said it was Israel's deal, and Israel itself never actually agreed to its own deal. Like, what are we supposed to make of this? It's like not that complex. It's not that complex at all. Many people can see the truth in this regard. So I don't know what purpose this serves in terms of just like still in this final hour, these guys are still operating on this false notion that it's actually the pressure that must be applied to Hamas because they're just not willing to agree to the terms of these, willing to agree to the ceasefire negotiation. It doesn't make any sense. All you're doing is trying to, I guess, use the crumb of credibility that you have still with like 90-year-olds into believing a false notion, into believing something that is patently untrue, that you can openly see. It's so strange. It's definitely strange, especially happening at a time when obviously like mainstream media has lost so much credibility.
Place that he has always really, he's valued his role as, even when he was in the Senate and he was on the Foreign Relations Committee, he clearly doesn't want to give all the credit to Donald Trump. But I will say the people that work for him have been willing to do it.
Yeah, look, I agree with Mike. I think people across the country are sick of the back and forth. I think people want to see some bipartisanship. And so for the start of this new administration, I think this is a good sign that there could be some glimmers of hope for bipartisanship. But secondly, look, I think President Biden and Vice President Harris have been clear about their stance on this, and they've worked very hard to get here. And so, yes, I do think Donald Trump helped push this over, but I don't want to take the credit away from the president and the vice president. They were very clear about this deal. They were very dogged about it. They wish this would have happened in May, but it did not. But I think you're right. President Biden's having a hard time this week. He has a couple of days left in office. He's enjoyed being president. It was not his choice to not be president. Let's just be honest about that. But it's going to be tough for him as he watches Donald Trump take office again. You remember when he took office a couple years ago, he wanted to save this country's soul. He doesn't really feel like he's done that. So I do think there's some things that he's grappling with over the next couple of days that are going to be tough for him.
David, one thing that has hung over this deal is, of course, if assuming that this stays on track and we see these hostage releases on Sunday, is going to be the imagery and the parallels for an outgoing President Biden with an outgoing President Carter. Jimmy Carter reflected a little bit on this dynamic back in an interview he did in 2015. I want to watch that and then we'll talk about it.
I hadn't been to bed for 3 days and 3 nights. I had just been negotiating with the Iranians and with 12 other countries to get the release of our hostages who had been in prison for more than a year. And at 9 o'clock that morning, they were already in the airplane ready to take off from Tehran. But the Ayatollah Khomeini kept them there until after I was no longer president.
And your colleague Peter Baker in his analysis mentioned that this has been hanging over this is something the White House is very aware of, the president's aides have been very aware of. How does this kind of echo today?
Well, first of all, this could well spill into Monday. It could spill beyond. Hamas at various moments made the argument they weren't certain where all of the hostages were. The second reason that this may hang over is the great thing about the Jimmy Carter tape that you showed there is all the hostages walked off the plane.
Right.
And here we know that of the numbers that we're hearing, not everyone is alive. And some of those hostages are going to, come back as remains. And so this is going to be both joyous and soul-crushing at the same moment. And it's also going to make you wonder, had the deal been able to come together earlier, how many of those lives could have been saved?
The most necessary thing.
Statements claim Hamas reneged on parts of the ceasefire deal. Hamas officials say it isn't true. This comes amid the backdrop of internal political pressure on Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Here's Trey Yingst, who is the chief foreign correspondent for Fox News, reporting on the matter. I'm sorry, but the fact that Trey Yingst at Fox News is saying this from Tel Aviv and he is outflanking CNN is so unacceptable. Okay?
This is an important update. There is a crisis as it relates to the ceasefire agreement reached last night. The Prime Minister's office here in Israel just released a statement saying Hamas reneged on parts of the agreement reached with mediators and Israel in an effort to extort last-minute concessions. The Prime Minister's office goes on to say there will be no cabinet vote until mediators inform Israel that Hamas has agreed to all parts of the deal. This is significant, and it comes amid the backdrop of increased domestic political pressure against the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, whose own finance minister Bezalel Smotrich threatened to leave the government if a deal was reached.
Never mind. He didn't actually say what I think he said in here.
Hamas reneged on parts of the agreement reached with mediators and Israel in an effort to extort last-minute concessions. The Prime Minister's office goes...
He tweeted out something different. Israelis claim Hamas reneged on parts of the ceasefire deal. Hamas officials say this isn't true. Why didn't he mention that in the... Yeah, he didn't mention that at all. He tweeted it. This part does not exist in the video. Interesting. Anyway, if Netanyahu's government is threatening to dissolve it, then who is that is reneging on it? It's so dumb. I know. That's what's so frustrating about it. It's like It's so glaringly obvious. It is so obvious who the spoiling party is. I saw a tweet from 2012 on the timeline earlier. Someone had brought it up again where this person was saying, like, hold on, let me see if I can find the tweet. I want to do it justice by just telling you exactly what the tweet was. Raphael Shimonov reposted this. Emily F. in 2012 says, Palestinians don't want peace, in air quotes, but Palestinians celebrate the ceasefire while 70% of Israelis are against the ceasefire. All the way back in 2012. Tell me who wants peace, like even on the population side. Anyway, here's the other story of the day. Shock moment. Blinken verbally accosted by anti-Israel heckler who gets removed from the press briefing.
Reporters in Gaza were receiving end of your bombs. Why did you keep the bombs flowing when we had a deal in May? We all knew we had a deal. Everyone in this room knows we had a deal, Tony, and you kept the bombs flowing.
I'm happy to address
Why did you sacrifice the rules-based order on the mantle of your commitment to Zionism? Why did you allow my friend...
The heckler is not a heckler. That's Max Blumenthal. He's a journalist.
Knows we had a deal, Tony, and you kept the bombs flowing.
I'm happy to...
Which, once again, I will just say, on the issue of Israel, Max is great. That's all I'm saying, okay? Don't bring me all of his other reporting. Don't come in here and start talking about Vladi Poo or Syria or whatever. Listen, that's not what we're talking about right now. We're simply talking about Israel, okay? He's locked in.
Why did you sacrifice the rules-based order on the mantle of your commitment to Zionism?
Yeah, people are happy to be like, oh, well, what about his reporting on COVID? Like, yeah, I know.
Why did you allow my friends to be massacred? Why did you allow my friends' homes in Gaza to be destroyed?
It's also additionally frustrating because one of his journalists was falsely apprehended and arrested by the Israeli state, an American citizen. Just, something to remember as well. All right? It's not just like, so for him, understandably, he's okay. The point of doubt on the annexation exchange speculation is that I'm not sure how Bibi plans to navigate this politically and come out on the other side. Smotrich says he'd leave if the war ends after phase 1. And Ben-Gvir says he'd leave if the deal is signed at all. Netanyahu's personal media channels divorced of any real ideology, but they've been committed to the absolute victory slogan for so long. He'd definitely have to get a security blanket from some political enemies. Yes. Jeremy Lafredo is the gray zone journalist that was arrested by the Israeli state.
When we had a deal in May, you helped destroy our religion, Judaism, by associating it with fascism. You waved the white flag before Netanyahu. You waved the white flag before Israeli fascism.
I look forward to taking questions when I get a chance.
Your mother-in-law was an Israel lobbyist. Your grandfather was an Israel lobbyist. Are you compromised by Israel? Why did you allow the Holocaust of our time to happen? How does it feel to have your legacy be genocide? How does it feel to have your legacy be genocide? You too, Matt. You smirk through the whole thing every day. You smirk through a genocide.
CNN called this cringy.
Repeatedly interrupted by some cringeworthy heckling by activists.
By activists, not your contemporaries, not your peers, but cringeworthy activists. Chat. Nice reporting on that. By the way, the other person that they packed up in this process was not even someone who works for a gray zone, but Sam Husseini, who was violently and physically apprehended. I was seriously manhandled, but I'm back at home, he says. Thanks for all the support, folks. My intention was to ask tough questions at every opportunity during the news conference, which state personnel obviously cut short. Was the point of the May 31st announcement to block implementation of the May 24th ICJ order? Why do you refuse to recognize the Geneva Conventions as applying to Gaza? Everyone from Amnesty International to the ICC accuses Israel of extermination and genocide. Why are you not in The Hague? Why was your stepfather Pissar connected to both Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein? Miller here pretends not to know about the Hannibal Directive. Do you know about the Hannibal Directive? Why do you not even acknowledge Israel's nuclear weapons?
I carry in my pocket the names of those who have been arbitrarily detained and unfairly held hostage, unjustly held hostage, and bringing them home, returning them to their families, returning them to their loved ones. Finally,
get your hands off me. 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 Answer a damn question.
I look
Do you know
forward to
about the
answering
Hannibal
questions in a few
Directive?
minutes.
Do you know about Israel's nuclear weapons? Everybody from the ICJ. I was sitting here quietly, and now I'm being manhandled by 2 or 3 people. You pontificate about a free press. You pontificate about a free press. You are hurting me.
It's so funny that we constantly have this conversation about like Chinese free speech and whatever. And it's like the moment that the American state feels weak, like a little shred of weakness, a sense of weakness from the American state, and immediately we're like, oh no, like we're doing the same stuff that we accuse all of our foreign adversaries of doing. And some of our foreign adversaries do these things, right? This is something that I talked to Chelsea Manning about a long time ago, but it's something that I try to repeat to people. America gets the quote unquote have free speech, but even then there are obvious limitations to it when someone threatens the established order. That's why the likes of whistleblowers such as Chelsea Manning have been violently punished for their crimes of revealing certain war crimes that the American government has conducted. That's why Edward Snowden has to live in exile. That's why Julian Assange was punished for almost a decade. Just something to consider here. But even outside of that, the more America's power diminishes on the global stage, the more you will see how hard they crack down on free press and free speech in general. And we still have an awesome amount of power on the global stage, and yet we're already doing this stuff. Just so you understand. It's going to get worse, by the way.
You are hurting me. You are hurting me. I'm asking questions after being told by Matt Miller that he will not answer my questions until I ask him. Wasn't the point of the May 31st statement to block the ICJ orders? You blocked the ICJ orders?
Like room full of journalists, room full of State Department journalists. Okay, these are NatSec reporters. Like some of these guys are I mean, these guys are like 20-year, 30-year veterans in the field. Okay? This is a Democratic administration doing this, by the way.
Respect the process. Respect the process while everybody from Amnesty International, to the ICJ is saying that Israel's doing genocide and extermination. You're telling me to respect the process. Criminal! Why aren't you in the Hague? Why aren't you in the Hague? Why aren't you in the Hague?
Finally, we've worked to modernize our diplomacy so that...
Yeah. Incredible, dude. Yeah, imagine if Anthony Blinken was Chinese, dude. How much media coverage? What do you think CNN would say if this was happening in communist China? And not to say that it like there is free press or free speech in communist China or whatever. I'm not even claiming that. Okay? But just think, how would CNN cover this instance? How would CNN cover it? Do you think this is what they would say?
As you heard, he was repeatedly interrupted by some cringeworthy heckling by activists. I mean, we were both sitting here pretty stunned, frankly. This is supposed to be a press conference with a room of journalists. Those were activists who were interrupting the Secretary of State when he initially was thanking the press and talking about the Israeli-Hamas deal.
Yeah, I think it's really surprising. A lot of our viewers will have seen protests on Capitol Hill, for example, during confirmation hearings, but it's very rare for something like that to happen at the State Department. I'm over there all the time.
Yeah, because Sam Husseini was apprehended violently, not because he was like doing a cringeworthy protest, but for simply asking questions that they were both journalists. Yes. Both Max Blumenthal of Gray Zone and Sam Husseini are both like credentialed journalists that are allowed to be in that room. They're NatSec reporters. You might not like all of their output, okay? You might not like all of their coverage. You might not agree with them ideologically. Just imagine if Biden is doing a press conference and they do this to like to Douchey, okay? The Fox News reporter. They just come in with, you know, cops and pick him up. What do you think Fox News would do in that situation? They would burn the building to the ground, dude. Are you kidding me? Are you joking? And it wouldn't just be Fox News either. CNN would also be very upset. They would absolutely rip into the Biden administration. So CNN didn't even know they were journalists? No, they're just lying. That's the point. They know that they're journalists. But of course, it looks weird if they actively call them journalists, NatSec reporters. Then it calls into question why a mainstream media outlet, a legacy publisher, is on board with the State Department violently apprehending and kicking aside a credentialed reporter. So they can't say that. They have to simply say, oh, it's just a, yeah, it's not a, you know, it's a cringe activist. Look at this. Look, Sam Husseini is routinely credentialed as a reporter to participate in State Department press briefings, and CNN Chiron says interrupted by man asking questions like it was some heckler who snuck into the room. CNN is going to complain day in, day out during Trump's administration about how they're mistreated, like they did during his first term, but they can't even call this out. Reporters shouldn't be dragged out of briefings and then detained and arrested.
You are hurting me. You are hurting me. You are hurting me. I am asking questions after being told by Matt Miller that he will not answer my questions until I'm asking questions. Wasn't the point of the May 31st statement to block the ICJ orders? You blocked the ICJ orders. You respect the process. Oh, respect the process. Respect the process. Well, everybody from Amnesty International, to the ICJ, saying that Israel's doing genocide and extermination. You're telling me to respect the process. Criminal. Why aren't you in the Hague? Why aren't you in the Hague? Why aren't you about Israel?
Wow.
So
I mean, you have no self-respect, dude. Like, straight up. Like, I get that these guys operate on a decent amount of Western chauvinism, a decent amount of, like, unexamined, resilient white supremacist attitudes. So, of course, when Palestinian colleagues of theirs are getting shredded by American weapons in the hands of the apartheid state, they rarely ever cover it. They rarely ever talk about it, right? Because they're monsters, but it's far away. But there is, at least in this profession, a sense of respect and a sense of honestly self-preservation that journalists are supposed to have, where they go out to bat for their colleagues because they understand that if a State Department does that to someone that they might not agree with, they could very quickly do that to them as well. And I love that, like, at this stage, the defense of Israel is such a higher priority for these guys that they straight up are talking about a credentialed reporter who is allowed to be there as though he is just some random heckler, dude. That's crazy. That's crazy because it's going to happen to them as well. Wait till Trump does this to a CNN reporter. I will, as is the case always, defend them. Okay, I will not be defending the Trump administration for being like, oh, bad vibes overall from CNN reporters, so they deserve it. I would defend it if this happened to a Fox News reporter for asking questions. Trump did it to a CNN reporter back then, and Fox News was the first to call it out. Exactly. There is like solidarity amongst reporters, especially in like America, okay? If this were to happen to any other reporter, all hell would break loose in media. This is exactly the type of like self-interested media fancy that reporters love covering over and over again, because they love considering themselves to be like brave warriors that are facing serious repercussions for reporting on or engaging in what they consider as like adversarial journalism. But when actually adversarial journalism is happening at the State Department press briefing by a credentialed reporter, they cast him aside as though he is just some random heckler.
Time in that briefing room, and you need to have a reason to be at the State Department. You need to have an appointment. You need to have press accreditation to come and go. So it's unclear who those people were. So I think there's a real security question there. Allow me to be cheesy for a moment. This is a testament to American democracy and the way that American administrations approach their press rooms. They give accreditation to a wide number.
Yeah, and also credit. Really? This is a moment that is credit worthy. Let's praise them for giving credentials to reporters that don't deserve it. And sometimes they're just going to get their ass beat. That's crazy, man. You're a disgusting little monster. Shame on you. Shame on you. That's crazy. The American government arrests a credentialed reporter for asking questions in a State Department briefing from Anthony Blinken, and you choose to celebrate the fact that they even gave him a credential to begin with. What a ridiculous, like, I mean, does he have to say it in Korean for you to have some different opinions on it? Does he have to say it in Mandarin? Is that the only time where you'll go, wow, what a glaringly obvious display of having no intellectual honesty and no interest in preserving the sanctity of the fourth estate. Only our foreign adversaries engage in stuff like this. When we do it, it's not only just, but it's also a yet another indication of our virtue that we gave them credentials to begin with. Wow.
Number of journalists, and increasingly what I would call less mainstream journalists, more opinion journalists, who have the opportunity to go to the State Department, to go to the White House, and to ask questions of the representatives of that administration. So I'm always amazed by, whenever I go to these different press rooms, about who's actually sitting there. It's not just Americans, it's people from all over the world, from Turkey, from China.
Defamation case against CNN over Afghan evacuation report goes to a jury. Wait. Oh, I remember this. Yeah, I think this was like this might have been a hog thing though. Yeah, a Florida jury will decide. Oh God, my freaking thing doesn't work at all anymore. God damn it. A Florida jury will decide. What is happening? Bro, this doesn't work anymore. I swear to God. Oh God, ad block just simply does not work. It's so annoying. Yeah, it just simply does not work. All right. Yeah, we'll just use archive. A Florida jury will decide whether CNN defamed a U.S. Navy veteran in a 2021 report on how Afghans are being charged thousands of dollars to be evacuated after the U.S. military withdrawal from their country. Yeah, I don't know if this defamation suit holds, for the record, because I think it was actually, unironically, I mean, I don't know the entire circumstances. I just remember reading about it a little bit a while back, but this was a guy who was handling extractions, and they went and they interviewed people, and they said this guy was like asking a ridiculous fee for these extractions. Young, who advertises evacuation service on LinkedIn, has said he only took on clients with corporate sponsors. He extracted 22 employees for Bloomberg and Audible from Afghanistan. There was Audible employees in Afghanistan? What the hell? He said he never took money directly from Afghans, who CNN said in the piece were being exploited as they feared retribution from the Taliban for aiding American forces. Young was seeking $14,500 for getting people out of the country at the time. His services were described in the CNN segment alongside interviews with Afghans who spoke about efforts by people to escape, but they had no connection to Young. His suit said his inclusion in the story, which used the term black market in an on-screen banner, implied that his activity was criminal, even though Marquardt's segment made no such charge. Black market was also used in the introduction of the report when it first ran on The Lead with Jake Tapper. Other CNN programs and the network's website and social media accounts. The jury in the civil trial. Yeah, Young claims the story destroyed his reputation and ability to earn a living, driving his annual income from $350,000 to zero, and caused severe emotional and psychological distress.
China from South Korea, who get to ask questions of people like Matt Miller at the State Department or Karine Jean-Pierre at the White House. And so there's a relatively open policy for now in these different press rooms.
Nice, man. Look how wonderful we are that we're just letting reporters in.
Because you know about Israel's nuclear weapons, everybody from the ICJ, I was sitting here quietly, and now I'm being manhandled.
We've been listening to Secretary Blinken taking questions on Israel.
Not always the most enjoyable thing, but it is the most necessary thing.
A legend in that building from the Associated Press report that they have to come and go. So it's unclear who those people were. So I think.
Is it unclear? How is that unclear? You're a goddamn reporter. You know, you have a CNN reporter in the room. That's crazy. That's crazy. How is that unclear? That's a crazy way to. Oh my God. This can only be read as omission, okay? In an effort to serve not the truth but lies. That's it. That's it. You got a CNN reporter in there. You think you can't call up the CNN NatSec reporter to be like, hey, who were the people that were arrested? Who were the people that were forced out of the room? Were they credentialed reporters? I don't have access to the same degree that CNN has, but even I can figure out what happened there by just looking at the videos. You know, it's on Twitter. It's a room full of journalists. What a silly thing. This is a room filled to the brim with journalists. So the notion that you just couldn't simply check to see who got kicked out or whether they were credentialed or not is so stupid. And the reason why they're not doing that is not because they simply don't have the bandwidth to, okay? It's not because they don't have the bandwidth to. It's because they don't want to. They don't want to cover it. They know what the truth is. They just want to lie.
I think there's a real security question there, and in terms of like who gets to come into the building. I think it also speaks to the incredible anger at the Biden administration, both domestically and internationally, for the support that they have given to Israel. You heard someone there talking about allowing them to kill my friends. I think he's referring to journalists in Gaza. But I think the bigger picture was a good question there from Matt Lee, a legend in that building, from the Associated Press, talking about what's different between now and 16 years ago when Condoleezza Rice was leaving the State Department. They were also talking about Israel and Gaza, and what's going to change? How can anything change? And as we ducked out there, Secretary Blinken was talking about the Abraham Accords, and I think this is going to be something we're going to be talking about a lot in the coming months. This is essentially going to be the guiding principle when it comes to the Middle East for the Trump administration. His biggest foreign policy victory, he would tell you, in the first term was the Abraham Accords, the normalization between several Arab countries and Israel. He wants to expand that to Saudi Arabia. And I think that is probably the best chance for things to change at this point, because Saudi Arabia is essentially saying that if we're going to normalize with Israel, then there needs to be a Palestinian.
Yeah. He's, listen. He knows the other guy who's a legendary reporter, not the two guys that got kicked out, though. Those guys are activist hecklers.
State, and that is one thing that could end this war. So there are a lot of moving parts before we get there. But the one thing that really could change the paradigm of what we've been seeing in the...
It's little tweaks like this by man asking questions about U.S. policy in Gaza. Blinken news conference repeatedly interrupted by man asking questions about U.S. policy in Gaza. Not Blinken news conference repeatedly interrupted after... Capitol Police apprehend and detain journalists for asking questions about U.S. policy in Gaza. It's not for brevity, by the way. They could have just simply changed by man to by journalists asking questions, but they don't want to do that.
Middle East is the enlargement of those Abraham Accords.
And we have, I think, video of another angle of what happened there in the press room at the State Department. Let's watch.
About Israel's nuclear weapons, everybody from the ICJ. I was sitting here quietly, and now I'm being manhandled by 2 or 3 people. You pontificate about a free press. You pontificate about a free press. You are hurting me. You are hurting me. You are hurting me. I am asking questions after being told by Matt Miller that he will not answer my questions until I'm asking questions. Wasn't the point of the May 31st statement to block the ICJ orders? You blocked the ICJ orders. You respect the process. Respect the process. Respect the process. Well, everybody from Amnesty International. From Amnesty International to the ICJ saying that Israel's doing genocide and extermination, and you're telling me to respect the process. Criminal! Why aren't you in The Hague? Why aren't you in The Hague? Why aren't you about Israel?
Wow.
So I can't speak to who that was. What I will say is that, over the past few years, whether it's the Pentagon, the State Department, the White House, we have seen, and allow me to be cheesy for a moment, this is a testament to American democracy and the way that American administrations approach their press rooms. They give accreditation to a wide number of journalists, and increasingly what I would call less mainstream journalists, more opinion journalists, who have the opportunity to go to the State Department, to go to the White House, and to ask questions of the representatives of that administration. So I'm always amazed by, whenever I go to these different press rooms, about who's actually sitting there. It's not just Americans, it's people from all over the world, from Turkey, from China, from South Korea, who get to ask questions of people like Matt Miller at the State Department or Karine Jean-Pierre at the White House. And so there's a relatively open policy for now in these different press rooms. But what we're looking at is what was supposed to be the final press briefing by Secretary Blinken to a lot of the press who have been covering him for years. You can see a couple of them there in the front rows of the State Department. And he was interrupted in a very dramatic fashion, not just on this one occasion, but several times during this ongoing press conference.
Yeah, and I believe we need to check this, but there may have been more than one. It may have been beyond the person we see right here. And usually, you know, as you pointed out, Alex, you see something like this on Capitol Hill. We saw it during the cabinet hearings this week with Pete Hegseth. It's unusual to see that in the press room at the State Department. But we also shouldn't lose sight of why everyone is gathered there today to be able to ask questions of the Secretary of State, Blinken, which is happening right now.
But the right questions only.
Hamas deal. We heard Blinken say that it is imperative.
But the right questions only.
It's
you know,
hiccups along the way.
Not questions we don't like. You know what I mean? Because if you ask questions we don't like, then yeah, it's totally fine and valid that you get kicked out. We love when you get kicked out. And we'll sit here and act like you're not a journalist, but simply an activist heckler. Aaron David Miller is a former State Department analyst. In 27 years at state, never seen a situation where a Secretary of State, a caring, compassionate man, is heckled in his own building by a heckler yelling, "Why aren't you in The Hague?" A new low for civility. It's not, Ryan responds, it's not his building, it is the people's building, and he deserves a fair trial, but quite obviously he should be charged just as Netanyahu was. Insane to me. Anyway, hundreds of Israelis are now protesting against the ceasefire, which they say is surrendering to Hamas.
Israel is divided over the news of a ceasefire deal. Outside the Israeli parliament in Jerusalem, hundreds gathered this morning to protest against it, believing that it represents a surrender to Hamas.
We don't want to do deals with the devil again. We had enough of that. We want to beat this war. We send our soldiers to war, to battle, to win this battle, to destroy Hamas when nothing remains from them.
The fact that we're only receiving in this current deal 33 hostages over the span of 47 days, it just shows that we haven't done enough and that we still have more work to do. Because if we'd really managed to beat Hamas, you know, we might have killed 46,000 Hamas terrorists, but they managed to recruit the same amount and even more.
They have powerful support in the Israeli government. The far-right parties have threatened to leave the coalition if the ceasefire deal is approved.
Some of the protesters here are family members of Israeli soldiers killed fighting in Gaza over the last 15 and a half months. And they believe that the deal struck in Qatar amounts to an Israeli surrender.
The Israeli cabinet should have met today to approve the deal. But Benjamin Netanyahu accused Hamas of demanding last-minute changes. He's also facing a rebellion from some in his own coalition. The National Security Minister has threatened to resign.
With an abandoned agreement approved and implemented, we will deliver our letters of resignation to the Prime Minister, and the Otzma Yehudit will not be part of the government, and we are resigning from it.
The United States is confident the ceasefire will begin on Sunday.
I am confident, and I fully expect that implementation will begin, as we said, on Sunday. Look, it's not exactly surprising that in a process and a negotiation that has been this challenging and this fraught, you may get a loose end. We're tying up that loose end as we speak. I've been on the phone in one way or another all morning with Brett McGurk, with our Qatari friends, and I'm very confident that this is moving forward.
In Tel Aviv tonight, hostage families and their supporters were again on the streets, as they have been every week for 15 and a half months. Yifat Calderon's cousin, Ofer, is one of the hostages. He is 52 years old and set to be released in the first phase.
I just get hope, but I don't have any faith in each side of it. Not in our side and not in the others and Hamas. We got to finish this war. We got to bring them all back. Because if we're going to wait more and more, we'll not have any hostages to bring home.
These are nervous days in Israel and Gaza. The ceasefire agreement has already proved itself to be fragile. Despite the mediator's optimism, few here think it will hold for long. Alistair Bunkle, Sky News, in Israel.
Everyone, this is Bisan. I am still alive and talking to you from Gaza Strip,
where more than 70% of the residential buildings were destroyed in a 1 year of ongoing genocide. But the question now is, where can the people who used to live in these neighborhoods and survived the destruction?
Yeah, I wonder why Sky News didn't translate what Itamar Ben-Gvir's party is in English and just said, what is it, Ozma Yehudit? Interesting. Maybe because it translates to Jewish Power Party, you know, like white power. That's literally true. It's not like a meme or anything. It's not an exaggeration. That's just what, like, Itamar Ben-Gvir's party is literally the Jewish Power Party.
And the genocide live after all of this.
وين ساكن هالبيت انت؟
شد رايحة بس ضايق الغرفة بمشي حالي فيه.
Here behind me is a home. The first floor is destroyed and there is no entrance for the home. So people put a stair.
Someone tried to say that I was being a little unfair for saying Ozma Yehudit translates to Jewish Power Party and that it actually means Jewish strength as well. Dog, it is a Kahanas party. What are you talking about? They are like openly, not a secret, openly Jewish supremacists. It's akin to saying, well, you know, these white nationalists are simply Christian nationalists, or these white nationalists are not white supremacists when they actively say that they are. Nuance perverts, man, is so funny. No, you don't understand. White power simply means white strength. Like, they just want white people to be strong, dude.
Here opened a door into the wall of the next floor and kept their plants alive. مين صاحب فكرة الدرع؟ مدمرة. See here, people, because of the lack of the options, we don't have any places to go to. So people now are returning back to their homes and trying to rebuild anything, like any wall. Look there.
Are the mods sleeping? No, this person is joking, going along with what I said. That's the reason why they didn't get banned, because they're basically repeating what I said, okay? Which is when I used an example of like a white supremacist claiming that they're just simply saying white people must be powerful and not that they're superior or anything. Not every person that's trying to make a joke without slapping an S on the back of it is a, you know, freak.
زحلق. طب ما حدش حكى لكم انه خطر تتزحلقوا في مكان فيه ركام مثلا؟ خطر طب ليه تتزحلقوا؟
Make sure to subscribe to our channel.
Joined now by retired Admiral John Kirby, the White House National Security Communications Advisor. Admiral Kirby, good morning to you, sir.
Good morning.
As you know, Netanyahu's office just put out a statement a short time ago claiming that Hamas is already reneging on the agreement to extort some last-minute concessions. Hamas insisting that it's committed to the ceasefire. All of this while attacks continue in Gaza overnight. How confident are you, Admiral, that this is a plan that's actually going to hold?
We're going to get there, Craig. We're aware of these issues that the Prime Minister has raised today, this afternoon, their time, and we're working through that. Our team on the ground is actually working with him and his team to iron all this out and flatten it and get it moving forward. Obviously, this has got to get approved by the Israeli government, and Prime Minister Netanyahu knows that, and he's working through that process as well. But we're confident that we'll be able to solve these last-minute issues and get it moving, and that this ceasefire can take place starting on Sunday.
Meanwhile, the parents of deceased Israeli-American hostage Hirsch Goldberg, Poland, they put out a statement as well. I just want to read part of it to you. They welcomed the deal. They also took issue with the timing of this deal, saying in part our beloved son Hirsch and so many other innocent civilians should have been saved long ago by a deal like this one, especially since the framework for today's deal has been in place since May of 2024. What do you say to them and others who argue that this is a deal that could have been done months ago and not doing so cost lives?
We agree 100% with the Goldberg family and every other hostage family that feels the same way, because we feel exactly the same way. This is the deal that the president put on the table back in May, was endorsed by the international.
Wait for it. Hamas refused to go along with it, right? He's going to say it.
Community, and time again, Hamas just kept throwing up obstacles and wasn't willing to negotiate in good faith.
If you ask that family, they've been pretty open about who they think is responsible for this deal being cast aside. They've openly recognized Benjamin Netanyahu as the responsible party, just so you know. So even the people that they actually recognize the humanity of, Israeli victims, okay, families of hostage members, they still openly will just cast aside. They'll be like, yeah, whatever. They don't know what they're saying. They're too emotional because their child died, you know, that type of shit.
Damn, this guy's good.